You're trying to steal my child!" The accusation shattered the winter night like breaking glass. Security guards surrounded him. Phones rose, recording. Noah Brooks stood frozen, a terrified little girl still perched on his shoulders, his own daughter gripping his hand. 1 hour ago, he'd been a struggling single father trying to give his child one magical evening. Now he was being branded a kidnapper by a woman in a designer coat whose rage could destroy his entire life. The crowd pressed closer. The little girl began to cry, and Noah realized that sometimes doing the right thing costs everything. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back to where this all began, and I promise you, this story will change how you see kindness forever. Stay with me until the end, hit that like button, and comment what city you're watching from so I can see how far this story travels. The December cold cut through Noah Brooks's jacket like it wasn't even there, but he barely noticed. He was too busy watching his daughter's face light up as the Ferris wheel blazed against the dark sky, a spinning constellation of red and gold that made her green eyes go wide with wonder. "Daddy, can we? Please, please, please!" Mia bounced on her toes, her breath making little clouds in the freezing air. At 7 years old, she still believed in magic, still trusted that her father could make impossible things happen. Noah felt the worn wallet in his pocket, knew exactly what was inside. $43 and some change. $43 that was supposed to last until Friday, when his paycheck from the construction site would finally hit his account. $43 that should go toward gas, toward the electric bill that was already 2 weeks overdue, toward the groceries they'd been stretching thin for days. But it was Christmas week, and Mia hadn't asked for much, hadn't complained when he'd explained that Santa might not be able to bring everything on her list this year, hadn't made a fuss about the fact that other kids at school were going to Disneyland while their holiday would be spent at home. She'd just smiled and told him it was okay, that she had him and that was enough. That smile had broken his heart and mended it at the same time. "Yeah, baby," he said, crouching down to her level and tucking a strand of dark hair behind her ear. "We can ride the Ferris wheel and maybe get some hot chocolate after. Sound good?" The squeal she let out was worth every penny he didn't have to spare. The Winter Wonderland Festival had transformed the city's largest park into something from a storybook. Vendors lined the pathways selling roasted chestnuts and caramel apples, their carts decorated with evergreen garlands and twinkling lights. A massive Christmas tree stood at the center of it all, easily 40 feet tall, dripping with ornaments and silver tinsel. Carousel music competed with Christmas carols from a live band near the ice skating rink. Children ran everywhere, their laughter cutting through the cold like sunshine. Noah held Mia's hand tight as they navigated through the crowd. The festival had drawn thousands, families bundled in expensive North Face jackets, couples on dates, groups of teenagers taking selfies in front of every decoration. The parking lot had been completely full. They'd had to park 6 blocks away and walk, Mia chattering the whole time about all the things she wanted to see. "Look, Daddy, they have the big slide and the spinning teacups. Oh, and can we get our faces painted? Jenny at school got hers painted like a butterfly and it was so pretty." "We'll see what we can do," Noah said, mentally calculating the cost of each activity. The Ferris wheel would be $8 each. Hot chocolate would be another $6 or $7 for both of them. That would leave less than $30, and they still needed— "Watch it!" Someone bumped hard into Noah's shoulder, a man in a hurry who didn't bother to apologize as he pushed past. Noah stumbled slightly, tightening his grip on Mia's hand. "Some people forget their manners when they're in a rush," he murmured to his daughter, who was looking up at him with questions in her eyes. "That's okay," Mia said, her voice serious. "Mama used to say that sometimes grown-ups have bad days and forget to be nice." The mention of Sarah hit Noah like it always did, a sudden ache in his chest that never quite went away. 3 years since the cancer had taken her. 3 years of navigating parenthood alone, of working double shifts and missing school plays, of learning how to braid hair from YouTube videos and burning more dinners than he'd like to admit. 3 years of Mia growing up without her mother, and him trying desperately to be enough for both of them. "Your mama was a smart lady," he said quietly. They got in line for the Ferris wheel, which wound around metal barriers like a snake. The wait time sign said 30 minutes, which seemed optimistic given how slowly the line was moving. Mia didn't care. She pressed her face against the barrier, watching the wheel turn, already picking out which gondola she wanted to ride in. Noah checked his phone. 7:15. The festival ran until 10, which gave them plenty of time. He'd promised Mia they could stay until closing, could see the big fireworks show they were advertising. It would mean she'd be exhausted for school tomorrow. Christmas break didn't start until Friday. But when did they ever get nights like this? When did he ever get to see her this happy? The line crept forward. A family in front of them, mother, father, 3 kids all wearing matching ugly Christmas sweaters, were taking pictures with a phone on a selfie stick. The youngest kid, maybe 4 years old, was crying because he wanted cotton candy now, not later. The mother looked frazzled. The father checked his watch repeatedly, and Noah felt a strange kinship with them. Parenting was chaos, no matter how much money you had. "Daddy, I'm cold," Mia said, pressing against his side. Noah unzipped his jacket, the same worn Carhartt he'd owned for 6 years, and wrapped it around both of them as best he could, pulling her close. She was small enough that it almost worked. "Better?" "Mm-hmm." She snuggled against him, and for a moment everything else fell away. The unpaid bills, the struggle to make ends meet, the constant worry about what would happen if he got sick, or the truck broke down, or any one of 1,000 other disasters struck. None of it mattered. He had this moment, this child, this love that was bigger than any problem. The line moved again. They were maybe 10 groups from the front now. Noah could see the operator, a bored-looking teenager in an elf costume that had seen better days, mechanically loading people into the gondolas and setting them spinning. That's when he heard it. A sound that cut through all the festival noise, through the music and the laughter and the general chaos of thousands of people having fun. A sound every parent knows instinctively, that triggers something primal in the brain. A child screaming. Not the fun screaming of kids on rides or playing tag. Not the annoyed screaming of a tantrum over denied candy. This was pure terror. This was a child who was completely, utterly lost. Noah turned, scanning the crowd. The screaming continued, getting louder, more desperate. Other people were looking around too, confused, concerned, but nobody was moving. The bystander effect in full force. Everyone assuming someone else would handle it. Then he saw her. A little girl, maybe 5 or 6 years old, stood about 30 feet away near a hot chocolate stand. She was tiny, dressed in an expensive-looking pink winter coat with white fur trim, her dark hair pulled back in 2 neat ponytails that were coming undone. Tears streamed down her face as she spun in circles, screaming one word over and over, "Mama! Mama! Mama!" People flowed around her like water around a stone. Some glanced her way with vague concern, but kept walking. A few pulled out phones to call for help or to record. Noah couldn't tell. The hot chocolate vendor leaned over his counter, saying something to the girl, but she just screamed louder, backing away from him. Noah felt Mia's hand tighten in his. "Daddy, that little girl is scared," she whispered. He looked down at his daughter, saw the empathy in her eyes. Sarah's eyes, he always thought, and knew he couldn't ignore this. Wouldn't ignore this, even though it meant losing their place in line, even though it meant potentially losing time they could be spending on their own magical evening. "Yeah, baby, she is," he said. "Come on, let's see if we can help." He stepped out of line, ignoring the annoyed huff from the family behind them, who saw an opportunity to move up one spot. Mia followed without question, her hand secure in his as they made their way through the crowd toward the crying child. As they got closer, Noah could see more details. The girl's pink coat was definitely expensive. He'd learned to spot that kind of thing from his years in construction, working on luxury homes where people spent more on their children's wardrobes than he made in a month. Her shoes were those trendy designer sneakers that cost over $100. Even her hair ties looked fancy, with little pearls on them. But right now, she just looked terrified. "Mama!" she screamed again, her voice going hoarse. "Mama, where are you?" Noah approached slowly, the way you might approach a frightened animal. He crouched down a few feet away, making himself less intimidating. "Hey there, sweetheart," he said gently. "My name is Noah. Are you lost?" The little girl's eyes locked onto him, big brown eyes swimming with tears. Her chest heaved with sobs. I can't find my mama," she choked out. She was right here and then she was gone and I don't know where. Another sob cut her off. She hugged herself, shaking, whether from fear or cold. Noah couldn't tell. Mia tugged on his sleeve. Daddy, she needs help. I know, baby. We're going to help her. Noah kept his voice calm, reassuring, the same tone he used when Mia woke up from nightmares. Sweetie, what's your name? The little girl hiccuped, wiping her nose with her sleeve. Ella. That's a beautiful name. Ella, my name is Noah, and this is my daughter Mia. We're going to help you find your mama, okay? But I need you to take some deep breaths with me first. Can you do that? Ella nodded, still crying but trying to follow along as Noah demonstrated slow, deep breaths. Mia, bless her heart, crouched down next to him and started doing the breathing exercises too, giving Ella someone her own age to mirror. That's good, Noah encouraged. You're doing great, Ella. Now, can you tell me where you last saw your mama? Ella's lip trembled. We were looking at the gingerbread houses, the big ones. And I wanted to see the one with the candy canes, but Mama was looking at her phone and I just walked over a little bit, and when I turned around, she was gone. Fresh tears spilled down her cheeks. Noah's heart ached for her. He knew that panic, that specific terror of being a small child in a big world and suddenly realizing you're alone. Okay, that's good information, he said. You did a good job remembering that. The gingerbread house display. That's back near the main entrance, right? He stood up, looking around to get his bearings. The festival was massive, probably covering 20 acres of the park. The gingerbread display was on the opposite side from where they were now, at least a 10-minute walk. How had this little girl gotten so far? But even as he thought it, he knew the answer. When you're 5 years old and panicking, 10 minutes of running in the wrong direction feels like nothing. A security guard walked past, talking into his radio. Noah almost flagged him down, then hesitated. Maybe Ella's mother had already reported her missing. Maybe they were already looking. But looking where? The festival was enormous, packed with people. Finding one small child would be like finding a needle in a haystack. Ella, does your mama have a phone? Noah asked. The little girl nodded. Uh-huh. She's always on it. Do you know her phone number? Ella shook her head, looking miserable. I'm only 5. I don't know numbers that big yet. Noah thought fast. That's okay. What about her name? What's your mama's full name? Catherine, Ella said. Catherine Langford. She's really important and really busy, and she's going to be so worried about me. Her voice pitched up again, heading toward another breakdown. Hey, it's okay, Noah soothed. We're going to find her, I promise. Catherine Langford? That's good. That helps. The name tickled something in his memory, like he'd heard it before, but he couldn't place it. Not that it mattered right now. He pulled out his phone and tried a quick Google search for Catherine Langford, but the festival Wi-Fi was overloaded and his data was barely 1 bar. The search spun and spun, loading nothing. Okay, new plan, Noah said, more to himself than anyone else. We need to get you to the security office. They'll have a PA system, can make announcements. Your mama's probably looking for you right now, and if we go to the security office, that's the first place she'll check. Ella nodded, but didn't move. She was looking up at Noah with an expression he'd seen on Mia's face 1,000 times. A child trying to decide if they could trust an adult they didn't know. Mia solved the problem. She stepped forward and held out her hand. Don't worry, she said seriously. My daddy is really good at fixing things. He'll help you find your mama. One time I got lost at the grocery store, and I was really scared, but he found me right away. He's the best daddy in the whole world. The simple, absolute confidence in Mia's voice seemed to be exactly what Ella needed. She took Mia's hand, and together the two girls looked up at Noah with complete trust. And just like that, Noah's simple evening out with his daughter became something more complicated. Okay, he said, trying to project confidence he didn't entirely feel. Let's go find your mama. The walk to the security office took them back through the heart of the festival. Noah kept both girls close, one hand holding Mia's and his other hand resting gently on Ella's shoulder so he wouldn't lose her in the crowd. People pressed in from all sides, families with strollers, groups of teenagers, couples holding hands. The noise was overwhelming. Carousel music, children laughing, vendors shouting about their wares, Christmas carols from competing sound systems. Ella kept looking around wildly, her head swiveling back and forth as she searched every face for her mother. "Do you see her?" she kept asking. "Do you see my mama?" "Not yet, sweetie, but we will," Noah reassured her, though he had no idea if that was true. How long had Ella been lost? 5 minutes? 10? 30? Time moved differently when you were scared. Her mother could be anywhere in this massive crowd. They passed the gingerbread house display Ella had mentioned, elaborate structures made of actual gingerbread and candy, some as tall as Noah himself. A crowd had gathered around them taking pictures. Noah scanned the faces, looking for a frantic woman, but everyone seemed calm, happy, focused on the festive displays. "Is that your mama?" Mia asked, pointing to a dark-haired woman near the biggest gingerbread house. Ella looked and shook her head, her face falling. "No, Mama has shorter hair, and she's wearing a black coat." They kept moving. Noah's phone buzzed, probably a text from his friend Marcus, who was supposed to come over this weekend to help fix the leaky bathroom sink. Noah ignored it. Right now, nothing mattered except getting this little girl to safety. The security office was located in a small building near the main entrance, marked with a blue sign that read Festival Information and Security. Noah could see it up ahead, past the massive Christmas tree and the long line of people waiting to take photos with Santa. "Almost there, Ella," he said encouragingly. But Ella had stopped walking. She was staring at the Santa line, her whole body tense. "Ella? What's wrong?" "I was supposed to sit on Santa's lap," she whispered. "Mama promised. We were going to do that after the gingerbread houses. What if she's waiting there? What if she's looking for me there?" It was a fair point. Noah hesitated, looking between the security office and the Santa setup. The smart thing would be to get Ella to security immediately. But what if her mother was at the Santa line, panicking, refusing to move in case Ella came back looking for her? "Tell you what," Noah said, making a decision. "The Santa line is right here. Let's take a quick look, and if we don't see your mama, then we go straight to security. Deal?" Ella nodded eagerly. Deal. They detoured to the Santa setup, which was elaborate, a whole winter wonderland scene with fake snow, mechanical reindeer, and a throne where a cheerful-looking Santa sat with child after child, listening to Christmas wishes. The line wound through velvet ropes, easily 100 people deep. Noah walked along the outside of the line, letting Ella scan the faces. Mia stayed quiet, holding Ella's hand and occasionally pointing out women with dark hair, but none of them were Catherine Langford. "She's not here," Ella said, her voice small and defeated. "That's okay. That's why we're going to security next. They'll help us." They were heading back toward the security office when Noah heard someone call out behind them. "Excuse me, sir! Excuse me!" He turned to see one of the festival volunteers, an older woman in a bright red vest, hurrying toward them, each sob. She had a concerned expression on her face and kept looking at Ella. "Is everything all right?" the woman asked, slightly out of breath. "I saw you walking with this little girl, and I just wanted to make sure. Is she with you?" Noah understood immediately what the woman was really asking. "Is this your child, or are you a stranger with someone else's lost kid?" "She's lost," Noah explained. "Her name is Ella Langford. I'm trying to get her to security so they can help find her mother." The volunteer's expression softened with relief and approval. "Oh, thank goodness. There are so many creeps in the world these days, you can never be too careful. What's your name, sir?" "Noah Brooks. This is my daughter, Mia. We were in line for the Ferris wheel when we heard Ella crying." The volunteer nodded, pulling out a walkie-talkie from her belt. "Let me radio ahead to security that you're coming. That way they'll be ready for you." "What did you say the mother's name was?" "Catherine Langford." The volunteer repeated the information into her walkie-talkie, then listened to a crackling response that Noah couldn't quite make out. "They said to bring her straight there," the volunteer confirmed. "They've actually had a report of a missing child. They've been looking for her. The mother must have already contacted them." Relief washed over Noah. "That's great news, Ella. Your mama already told security you're lost. They're looking for you." But instead of looking relieved, Ella's face crumpled again. "She's going to be so mad at me. I wasn't supposed to walk away. She always says I have to stay right next to her, and I didn't, and now she's going to be so mad." "Hey, no," Noah said firmly, crouching down to her level again. "Your mama isn't going to be mad. She's going to be relieved. She's going to be so happy to see you that nothing else will matter. I promise." He spoke from experience. The one time Mia had gotten separated from him at the grocery store, just for 3 minutes, though it had felt like hours, his first reaction when he'd found her hadn't been anger. It had been pure, overwhelming relief, so strong it had made his knees weak. The volunteer walked with them the rest of the way to the security office, chatting cheerfully with Ella about what she wanted Santa to bring her for Christmas. It was a transparent distraction technique, but it worked. By the time they reached the security office door, Ella was telling her all about the dollhouse she'd asked for, with the working elevator and the little furniture sets. The security office was warm inside, a welcome change from the December cold. It was a simple setup, a front desk where a young officer sat typing on a computer, a few plastic chairs along the wall, a water cooler in the corner, and a back room visible through an open door where several monitors showed security camera feeds from around the festival. The officer at the desk looked up as they entered. His nameplate read Officer Davis. He was maybe 25, with a professional expression that shifted to interest when he saw Ella. "Is this the missing Langford child?" he asked, already coming around the desk. "This is Ella," Noah confirmed. "I found her near the hot chocolate stand by the Ferris wheel. She was separated from her mother at the gingerbread house display." Officer Davis knelt down to Ella's level, giving her a kind smile. "Hi, Ella. I bet you've had a scary evening, huh? Don't worry, we're going to find your mom. She actually came here a little while ago looking for you." "She did?" Ella's eyes went wide. "Where is she?" "She went back out to look for you," Officer Davis explained. "She was pretty upset, wanted to keep searching, but we've been keeping an eye out, and now that you're here, we can radio her right away. Can you stay here with us while we call her?" Ella nodded, but kept holding Mia's hand like a lifeline. Officer Davis stood and looked at Noah. "I'm going to need to get some information from you, Mr. Brooks. Noah Brooks. Mr. Brooks, just for our records, can you walk me through exactly what happened? When and where you found Ella, what she told you, why you brought her here?" There was something in the officer's tone, nothing aggressive, but definitely official. Noah realized he was being evaluated, sized up. Of course he was. A grown man shows up with someone else's lost child. The security officer needed to make sure the situation was what it appeared to be. Noah explained everything clearly and concisely, hearing Ella's screams, approaching her carefully, learning her name and her mother's name, trying to Google the mother with no success due to bad signal, deciding to bring her to security as the safest bet. He mentioned the volunteer who'd radioed ahead, mentioned Mia being with him the whole time. Officer Davis listened, occasionally glancing at his computer screen where he was presumably taking notes. When Noah finished, the officer nodded. "That all sounds very straightforward. Thank you for bringing her here. You did the right thing." He pulled out a radio and spoke into it. "This is Davis at the main security office. We have the Langford girl, Ella, safe and sound. She was brought in by a festival guest. Can someone locate the mother and inform her to return to the security office immediately?" A burst of static, then a voice responded. "Copy that. Mother was last seen near the North Carousel. We'll locate her and bring her in." Officer Davis set down the radio and smiled at Ella. "Your mom will be here really soon. Would you like some hot chocolate while we wait? We've got packets in the back." Ella nodded shyly. The volunteer who'd walked them over offered to make it, disappearing into the back room. Noah felt Mia tug on his sleeve. When he looked down, she was giving him the look, the one that meant she needed to tell him something privately. He excused himself and stepped toward the corner with Mia. "What's up, baby?" "Daddy, are we still going to ride the Ferris wheel?" she whispered. "We lost our spot in line." Of course they had. Noah checked his phone. 7:45. They'd been dealing with this situation for half an hour. The Ferris wheel line would be even longer now, and they'd lost any chance of getting through it quickly. He felt a pang of guilt. This was supposed to be Mia's special night, their rare splurge on fun, and he'd spent it handling someone else's emergency. But when he looked at his daughter's face, he didn't see disappointment. He saw something else. Curiosity, maybe. Concern for Ella. "We might not have time for the Ferris wheel anymore," he admitted. "But we can still get hot chocolate and see some of the festival. Is that okay?" Mia considered this seriously, then nodded. "That's okay. I'm glad we helped Ella. She was really scared." God, he loved this kid. "You have a kind heart, Mia. Your mama would be proud of you." Mia beamed up at him, and Noah felt that familiar mixture of pride and heartbreak that came whenever he thought about Sarah missing these moments. The volunteer returned with hot chocolate for Ella, who accepted it gratefully and sat in one of the plastic chairs sipping it carefully. Mia sat next to her, and within minutes the two girls were chatting, Mia telling Ella about her school, Ella talking about her ballet classes. The easy friendship of children who didn't yet know to be guarded with strangers. Noah stood near Officer Davis's desk, feeling awkward and unsure if he should stay or go. Technically, his job was done. Ella was safe, her mother was being notified, everything was handled. But something kept him there. Maybe it was the fact that Ella kept looking over at him and Mia, like she needed the reassurance that they hadn't left her. Maybe it was his own curiosity about this Catherine Langford person. What kind of mother let her 5-year-old wander off at a crowded festival? Maybe it was just the responsible thing to do. Stay until he could hand Ella directly over to her parent and know for certain everything was resolved. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. Officer Davis made another radio call. "Any update on the Langford mother?" More static. "Still searching. She's not answering her phone. We're checking the carousel area now." Ella looked up from her hot chocolate, anxiety creeping back into her expression. "Where's my mama?" "She's coming, sweetie," Noah assured her. "The park is really big. It might take her a few minutes to get here." But 15 minutes had passed now. Then 20. The officer made another call, this one sounding more urgent. "How hard is it to find one woman? She was just at the North Carousel." "Sir, she's not there anymore. We've got officers at every major location. She must be moving around, searching on her own." Officer Davis muttered something under his breath, then composed himself and gave Ella another reassuring smile. "Your mom must really be looking hard for you. She's going to be so happy when she gets here." Noah checked his phone again. 8:15. The fireworks show would start at 9:30. There was still time, maybe, to salvage part of the evening with Mia. But he couldn't just leave, not with Ella looking at him with those big trusting eyes every few minutes, like she needed to confirm he was still there. "Daddy, can Ella have some of my hot chocolate money?" Mia asked suddenly. She looked sad. It took Noah a second to realize his daughter was offering to share their already limited budget with a total stranger. His heart swelled with pride even as he smiled. "Ella already has hot chocolate, baby, but that's very sweet of you to offer." The door to the security office burst open with such force that it slammed against the wall. A woman stood in the doorway, and Noah's first thought was that she looked like she'd run a marathon. Her black designer coat, he recognized the brand from the luxury homes he'd worked on, was askew. Her dark hair disheveled, her face flushed. She was breathing hard, eyes wild, scanning the room with barely controlled panic. Then her eyes landed on Ella. "Ella!" The woman, Catherine Langford, had to be, rushed forward, nearly tripping over her own feet. "Oh my God, Ella!" She grabbed her daughter with a desperation that made Noah take an instinctive step back, pulling Ella into a fierce hug that looked like it hurt. Ella dropped her hot chocolate. It splattered across the floor, but neither of them noticed. "Mama!" Ella was crying again, but these were different tears. Relief tears. "Mama, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to walk away. I was just looking at the candy cane house and—" "Don't you ever," Catherine's voice cracked, "don't you ever scare me like that again. Do you understand? I thought... She couldn't finish the sentence. She just held Ella tighter, and for a moment the security office was silent except for the sound of mother and daughter crying into each other's shoulders. Noah felt like he was intruding on something private. He started to step back, to quietly leave, but Officer Davis put a hand on his arm. "Wait," the officer said quietly. "The mother needs to know what happened." Catherine was pulling back now, holding Ella at arm's length, her hands running over her daughter's face, her arms checking for injuries with a mother's frantic thoroughness. "Are you hurt? Did anyone hurt you? Tell me the truth, baby. Did anyone touch you or try to—" "Mama, no," Ella said, pulling away slightly. "I'm okay. I was scared, but these people helped me. Noah and Mia helped me find you." It was only then that Catherine seemed to register that other people were in the room. Her gaze swept across Officer Davis, the volunteer, and landed on Noah. And something in her expression shifted. Noah saw it happen, saw the relief in her eyes harden into something else. Suspicion. Her gaze dropped to Mia, then back to Noah, and he could practically see the thoughts forming in her mind. Catherine stood, pulling Ella behind her in a protective gesture. When she spoke, her voice had gone cold, sharp as broken glass. "Who are you?" The question hit Noah like an accusation. He felt Mia press against his side, confused by the sudden tension. "I'm Noah Brooks, ma'am. This is my daughter, Mia. We found Ella crying near the Ferris wheel. She was lost, scared. We brought her here to security so you could—" "You found her." Catherine's eyes narrowed. "You just happened to find my daughter alone and decided to— What? Take her for a walk around the festival?" The implication in her tone made Noah's stomach drop. "No, ma'am. I brought her straight to security. She didn't know your phone number and my cell signal wasn't working to Google you, so the safest thing was to—" "The safest thing?" Catherine's voice was rising now, taking on a hysterical edge. "The safest thing would have been to stay exactly where you found her. Every parent knows that. You stay in one place when you're lost. You don't go wandering around with strangers." Officer Davis stepped in, his voice calm and professional. "Miss Langford, Mr. Brooks did exactly the right thing. He brought Ella here immediately. We've been trying to reach you." But Catherine wasn't listening. Her eyes were locked on Noah, and he could see something building in her, some combination of fear and rage and relief all twisted together into something dangerous. "You had my daughter," she said, her voice shaking. "For how long? Half an hour? 45 minutes? You had my 5-year-old daughter, and I'm supposed to just believe you were trying to help?" "Mama, he did help!" Ella was crying again, tugging on her mother's coat. "He was nice. He and Mia stayed with me and made sure I was safe. And—" "Ella, be quiet," Catherine snapped, not taking her eyes off Noah. "You don't understand. You're a child. You don't understand what—" She took a step toward Noah, and he instinctively stepped back, pulling Mia with him. "Ms. Langford, I understand you're upset," he said, keeping his voice level even though his heart was pounding. "I would be too if I'd lost my daughter. But I promise you, all I did was help, that's all. We heard her crying, we tried to calm her down, we brought her here. That's it." "That's it?" Catherine let out a laugh that had no humor in it. "You expect me to believe that some strange man approached my frightened daughter out of the goodness of his heart? What did you want? Money? Were you going to ransom her back to me? Do you have any idea who I am?" The accusation was so absurd, so far from what had actually happened, that Noah almost couldn't process it. What? No, I was just trying to help." "Mama, stop!" Ella was sobbing now. "You're being mean. Noah and Mia were nice to me. Ella, get away from him, now!" Catherine grabbed Ella's arm and yanked her away from where she'd been standing near Mia. The movement was so sudden, so violent, that Ella cried out. And that's when everything went wrong. The door to the security office opened again. 2 more security officers entered, responding to the earlier radio calls. They saw Catherine, clearly distraught, clearly upset, and they saw Noah, a strange man, and their body language immediately shifted to alert. Catherine saw them, and something snapped. Later, Noah would try to understand it, would try to remember that she was a mother who'd just had the worst scare of her life, that fear makes people irrational, that she wasn't thinking clearly. But in the moment, all he knew was that she turned to those officers and said 6 words that would change everything. "This man tried to kidnap my daughter." The words seemed to echo in the sudden silence. Noah felt the blood drain from his face. "What?" "No." But the officers were already moving, already positioning themselves between Noah and Catherine, already treating him like a threat. One of them, a large man with a stern expression, put his hand on Noah's shoulder. "Sir, I need you to stay calm and come with me." "I didn't— This is insane. Officer Davis, tell them." Noah looked desperately at the younger officer, who looked torn and uncertain. "He brought her here," Officer Davis said. "He reported finding her, brought her straight to security. After wandering around the festival with her for God knows how long," Catherine shouted. "After taking her away from where she was lost. Who does that? What innocent person does that?" Mia was crying now, confused and scared, clutching Noah's hand. "Daddy, what's happening? Why is that lady yelling at you?" The officer's grip on Noah's shoulder tightened. "Sir, I need you to come to the back office so we can sort this out. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. I'm not making anything hard. I was helping. I was just... Noah's voice cracked. This couldn't be happening. This couldn't actually be happening. More people were appearing in the doorway now, drawn by the commotion. Phones came out. Someone was recording. Noah could see it happening, could see his life about to be destroyed by a viral video of a man being accused of something he didn't do. "Daddy!" Mia's voice was high and frightened. "Daddy, I'm scared." "It's okay, baby, it's okay. Take your hands off my daughter," Catherine shrieked, and Noah realized with horror that Mia was still holding his hand, still standing next to him. And to anyone who didn't know the full story, it might look like he had two little girls with him. "Get away from her! Someone get that child away from him!" The volunteer from earlier stepped forward, confusion all over her face. "That's his daughter. I saw them together earlier." "I don't care what you saw." Catherine was hysterical now, and Noah understood with sinking dread that there was no reasoning with her. Not now, maybe not ever. "He had Ella. He took her." The second security officer was on his radio now, calling for more backup. "We need additional units at the main security office. Possible 207 in progress." 207. Kidnapping. They were calling in a kidnapping. Noah felt the world tilting, felt everything spinning out of control. This morning he'd been a single father trying to make it to Friday's paycheck. Tonight he'd tried to do one good thing, one kind thing, and now he was about to be arrested for attempted kidnapping in front of his 7-year-old daughter. "Please," he said, and hated how his voice shook. "Please, just listen. I can explain everything. I was trying to help." "Sir, stop talking," the first officer said, not unkindly, but firmly. "Anything you say can be used against you. You need to come with us now." They were going to take him away. They were going to take him away from Mia, and she was already crying, already terrified, and what would happen to her? Who would take care of her? Marcus wasn't home. He was working night shift at the warehouse. Noah's parents were 3 states away. There was no one. "Daddy!" Mia grabbed his jacket with both hands, holding on like she could physically prevent what was about to happen. "Don't leave me! Please don't leave me!" "Baby, it's okay. I'm not... They're just confused. I'm going to fix this." "Sir, let go of the child." The officer's voice had gone hard now. "She's my daughter. I'm not letting go of my daughter." And then, cutting through all the chaos, all the fear and confusion and wrongness of the moment, one voice rang out clear and desperate. "Stop!" Everyone froze. Ella pulled away from her mother and ran, not toward Catherine, but toward Noah. She threw herself against his legs, wrapping her arms around him, looking up at the security officers with tears streaming down her face. "He didn't take me," she screamed. "He didn't. He helped me. I was lost and crying, and he asked me my name and helped me find the security place, and he was nice. He didn't do anything bad. Mia was with us the whole time, and she shared her daddy with me because I was scared, and he promised he would help me find my mama, and he did. He did help, so stop being mean to him." The security office went silent. Catherine stared at her daughter, something cracking in her expression. The officers exchanged glances, uncertain now. Ella turned to her mother, still crying, her small body shaking with the force of her emotions. "Mama, you're wrong. You're wrong about Noah. He saved me. If he hadn't helped me, I'd still be lost and scared and alone. Why are you being so mean to him?" Catherine Langford's face went white, then red, then white again. She looked at her daughter, at Noah, at the officers who'd been about to take him away, at the phone still recording everything. And Noah saw the moment she understood what she'd done. She started, but no other words came. Officer Davis cleared his throat. "Ms. Langford, I think we need to have a conversation about what actually happened here, maybe in the back office, privately." But the damage was done. Noah could feel it, could feel the eyes of everyone in the room and everyone crowding around outside, could imagine the headlines that would be written if any of those videos went viral, could picture his boss seeing it, his neighbors, Mia's school. He scooped Mia up. She was getting too big for it, really, but he needed to hold her, needed to feel her safe in his arms. "We're leaving," he said quietly. "Sir, we need to get your statement," Officer Davis started. "You have it. I found her. I brought her here. That's it. That's my statement. We're done." He carried Mia toward the door. People parted for them. Someone was still filming, but Noah didn't care anymore. He just needed to get his daughter out of here, away from this nightmare, back to their small apartment where the world made sense and kindness didn't get you accused of crimes. Wait. It was Catherine's voice, shaky and small. Noah didn't turn around. Please wait, I made a mistake, But Noah was already outside, already walking through the festival that had seemed so magical an hour ago and now just felt like a cage full of strangers. Mia had her face buried in his shoulder, crying quietly, and he rubbed her back and murmured reassurances that he didn't quite believe himself. Behind them, the security office erupted in voices, Catherine's, the officers, Ella crying again. But it didn't matter. Noah had learned a lesson tonight, one he should have known already. Sometimes being kind isn't enough. Sometimes doing the right thing costs you everything. And sometimes the world punishes you for trying to help. He carried his daughter past the Christmas tree, past the carousel, past the Ferris wheel where they should have been riding right now, laughing and making memories. Past all of it, toward the parking lot 6 blocks away, toward home, toward safety. The festival lights blurred in his vision, or maybe that was tears, and Noah held Mia tighter and kept walking, leaving the magic behind. The walk to the truck felt like it took hours, though Noah's watch said it was only 12 minutes. 12 minutes of carrying Mia through streets lined with parked cars, her face still buried in his shoulder, her small body trembling with leftover adrenaline. 12 minutes of replaying the scene in the security office over and over, hearing Catherine Langford's accusation echo in his mind like a bell that wouldn't stop ringing. This man tried to kidnap my daughter. Noah's hands shook as he fumbled with his keys. The old Ford F-150 looked even more beat up than usual under the harsh streetlights. The paint faded, the bumper held on with zip ties and hope. He unlocked Mia's door and set her gently in her booster seat, but when he tried to buckle her in, she clung to him. "Daddy, don't let go." "I'm not going anywhere, baby. I'm just buckling you in so we can go home." "Promise?" The word cracked something in his chest. "I promise. I will always come home to you. Always." She finally released him enough that he could secure the buckle. Her face was blotchy from crying, her eyes red-rimmed and enormous in the dim light. She looked so young, so breakable. "Why was that lady so mad at you?" Mia asked in a small voice. "You were helping her little girl." Noah closed his eyes for a moment, trying to figure out how to explain adult fear and prejudice to a 7-year-old. Sometimes when people are scared, they don't think clearly. Ella's mama was really scared because she couldn't find Ella, and that fear made her make a mistake. "But you didn't do anything wrong." "No, baby, I didn't." "Then why did those police people want to take you away?" "Because sometimes the world is confusing and unfair, and people don't always see the truth right away." He kissed her forehead. "But it's okay now. We're okay. We're going home." He walked around to the driver's side, climbed in, and sat there for a moment without starting the engine. His hands were still shaking. The whole night felt surreal, like something that had happened to someone else. How had a simple act of kindness turned into such a disaster? His phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out and saw 3 missed calls from a number he didn't recognize, and 1 text message from the same number. "This is Officer Davis from Festival Security. Please call me when you can. I need to complete my report and I want to make sure you're okay." Noah deleted the message without responding. He didn't want to think about reports or statements or any of it. He just wanted to get Mia home, make her some hot chocolate, and pretend this night had never happened. The drive back to their apartment complex took 15 minutes through mostly empty streets. The holiday decorations that lined the main road, plastic Santas and inflatable snowmen in front yards, colored lights strung along roof lines, looked garish now instead of cheerful. Noah kept the radio off. Mia stayed quiet in the back seat, staring out the window. Their apartment was in a complex called Meadowview Gardens, though there were no meadows, and the only garden was a sad strip of grass between buildings where nothing much grew. It was a 2-bedroom unit on the 2nd floor of Building C, with thin walls and a heater that rattled all night. The rent was $800 a month, which was cheap for the area, but still took most of Noah's paycheck. The place wasn't much, but it was theirs. Noah parked in his assigned spot, number 47, and helped Mia out of the truck. She took his hand as they climbed the exterior stairs to their floor, her grip tight like she was afraid he might disappear. Inside, the apartment was cold. Noah had turned the heat down before they left to save money. He flipped it back up now and told Mia to get into her pajamas while he made them both some real hot chocolate, not the festival kind. While the milk heated on the stove, Noah stood at the kitchen counter and let himself shake. Now that Mia wasn't watching, now that he didn't have to be strong, the full weight of what had almost happened crashed over him. He could have been arrested, could have been charged. Even if the charges were eventually dropped, and they would have been once everyone looked at the facts, the accusation alone could have destroyed him. His boss wouldn't want an employee accused of attempted kidnapping working on clients' homes. Mia's school would look at him differently. The whole neighborhood would whisper. And for what? For helping a lost child? The milk started to boil over. Noah cursed and pulled it off the heat, his hands still unsteady. He poured it into 2 mugs, added cocoa powder and a splash of vanilla, stirred in some sugar. When he brought both mugs to the living room, Mia was curled up on their threadbare couch in her favorite pajamas, the ones with the stars on them, getting too small, but she refused to give them up. "Here you go, baby." She took the mug carefully, blowing on it. "Can we watch a movie?" "It's almost 9. You have school tomorrow." "Please? I don't want to go to sleep yet. I keep seeing that lady's angry face." Noah's heart squeezed. "Okay. One movie, you pick." Mia chose Moana, which she'd seen at least 20 times. Noah put it on and sat next to her, and she immediately curled into his side, balancing her hot chocolate carefully. The familiar song started playing, and slowly, gradually, he felt her body relax against him. His phone buzzed again, another call from the festival's security number. Noah declined it and turned his phone to silent. Halfway through the movie, Mia's hot chocolate was gone and her eyes were drooping. Noah carried her to her bedroom, a small space they'd tried to make cheerful with purple walls and glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling. He tucked her into bed and sat on the edge of the mattress. "Daddy?" "Yeah, baby?" "Are we still going to have Christmas?" The question surprised him. "Of course we are. Why would you ask that?" "I don't know. Everything felt scary tonight, like things were breaking." Noah smoothed her hair back from her forehead. "Things aren't breaking. We're okay. We're always going to be okay because we have each other. And yes, we're going to have Christmas. I promise." "Will Santa still come?" They'd had the Santa conversation last year when a kid at school had told Mia the truth. Noah had confirmed it, gently, and Mia had been disappointed but understanding. Now they had a tradition where Noah left her a small gift from Santa, anyway, just to keep a little of that magic alive. "Santa will definitely still come," Noah said. "Now get some sleep, okay?" He kissed her forehead, turned on her nightlight, and left the door cracked open the way she liked it. Then he went back to the living room and collapsed on the couch. His phone had 3 more missed calls and now a text from a different number. "Mr. Brooks, this is Catherine Langford. Officer Davis gave me your number. I need to speak with you. Please call me." Noah stared at the message for a long moment. The audacity of it amazed him. This woman had accused him of trying to kidnap her daughter in front of witnesses and cameras, had nearly gotten him arrested, had traumatized Mia, and now she wanted to talk? He typed out a response. "I have nothing to say to you." He hit send before he could second-guess himself, then blocked the number. The movie was still playing, Moana sailing across the ocean. Noah watched without really seeing it, his mind elsewhere. He kept thinking about Ella's face when she'd run to defend him, kept hearing her small voice shouting, "He didn't take me!" At least one person had told the truth tonight. One 5-year-old with more courage than any of the adults in that room. His phone buzzed again. A new number this time. Noah almost ignored it, but something made him check. "Mr. Brooks, this is Catherine Langford again. Please don't block this number. I understand you're angry. You have every right to be. But I need to apologize to you properly. What I did was unforgivable, but I'm asking for a chance to make it right, please." Noah read the message 3 times. Part of him wanted to block this number too, to shut out anything related to tonight and try to move on. But another part of him, the part that had been raised to believe in second chances, that had learned from Sarah's death that life was too short to carry anger, made him hesitate. He didn't respond, but he didn't block the number either. Sleep didn't come easy that night. Noah lay in bed staring at the ceiling, watching the shadows from the streetlight outside shift across the walls. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Catherine Langford's face twisted with rage, heard her accusation, felt the security officer's hand on his shoulder. Around 2 in the morning, he got up and checked on Mia. She was sprawled across her bed the way she always slept, one arm thrown over her stuffed elephant, her face peaceful. Noah watched her breathe for a few minutes, feeling the familiar weight of single parenthood settle over him like a heavy blanket. He was all she had. If something happened to him, if he'd actually been arrested tonight, if those charges had stuck somehow, what would have happened to her? The thought terrified him more than anything Catherine Langford had said. Back in his own bed, Noah finally drifted off around 3 into restless dreams filled with crowds and accusations and Mia's crying face. His alarm went off at 6:30. Noah silenced it and lay there for a moment, feeling like he'd been hit by a truck. His whole body ached with tension and lack of sleep. But Mia had school, and he had a job site to get to, so he dragged himself up and into the shower. By 7, he had Mia up and eating cereal at their small kitchen table. She was quiet, pushing her Cheerios around in the bowl. "You okay, baby?" Noah asked, pouring himself a second cup of coffee. "Yeah." She didn't sound convincing. "Are you going to be home when I get back from school?" "I should be. I've got work until 4, but I'll be here by 4:30 at the latest." "Why?" "I just want to make sure." Noah crouched next to her chair. "Miss Mia, look at me. What happened last night was scary, I know, but it's over now. That lady was wrong about me, and everyone knows she was wrong. I'm not going anywhere, okay?" Mia nodded, but her eyes were still worried. "Okay." He got her ready for school, helped her pack her backpack, made sure she had her lunch, zipped up her winter coat. They walked to the bus stop together like they did every morning, and Noah waited with her until the yellow bus pulled up. "Have a good day," he said, hugging her. "I love you." "Love you too, Daddy." He watched the bus pull away, Mia's small face visible in one of the windows, and felt that familiar tug in his chest. Every morning he sent her off into the world and hoped it would be kind to her. So far, mostly, it had been. But last night had shown him how quickly that could change. The construction site was across town, a new development of luxury townhomes that would sell for $500,000 each once they were finished. Noah was part of the framing crew, skilled work that paid better than most jobs he could get without a college degree. His boss, Jim Martinez, was a fair man who paid on time and didn't ask questions about Noah's past. Noah pulled into the site at 7:45, grabbed his tool belt from the truck bed and headed toward the structure they'd been working on all week. The December cold bit through his jacket, and his breath made clouds in the air. "Brooks, you look like hell, man." Marcus Williams, Noah's best friend and coworker, was already setting up his saw station. "Rough night?" "You could say that." "Mia okay?" "She's fine. Just long story." Marcus gave him a look that said he wanted details, but the site supervisor was already calling everyone together for the morning briefing, so it would have to wait. The morning passed in a blur of physical work that Noah welcomed. Hammering, measuring, cutting, lifting, all of it required enough focus that he couldn't think about anything else. By lunch break, his muscles were screaming and his hands were sore, but his mind felt clearer. He sat on a stack of lumber eating the sandwich he'd packed, peanut butter and jelly, same as Mia's, when Marcus settled down next to him. "All right, spill. What happened?" Noah hesitated, then found himself telling the whole story. Finding Ella, bringing her to security, Catherine's accusation, the near arrest, Mia's tears. Marcus listened without interrupting, his expression growing darker. "Are you serious?" Marcus said when Noah finished. "She actually accused you of kidnapping in front of everyone?" "Yep." "And you just walked away? Man, you should sue her. That's slander, defamation, whatever you call it. You could—" "I don't want to sue anyone," Noah cut him off. "I just want to forget it happened." "Noah, you can't just let people treat you like that. What if someone recorded it? What if it ends up online? You need to protect yourself." "With what money, Marcus? You know what lawyers cost? I can barely afford groceries. I'm not getting into a legal battle with some billionaire." "Billionaire?" Marcus's eyebrows shot up. "What are you talking about?" Noah realized he hadn't mentioned that part. Catherine Langford, that was the woman's name. I didn't think much of it at the time, but this morning I Googled her. He'd done it while making Mia's breakfast, unable to help himself. She's the CEO of Langford Industries, net worth somewhere around $2 billion. Marcus let out a low whistle. You helped a billionaire's kid, and she accused you of kidnapping. That's insane. Welcome to my life. They ate in silence for a few minutes. Then Marcus said, She tried to contact you? Twice. Different numbers. Says she wants to apologize. You respond? I told her I had nothing to say to her. Good. Stay away from people like that, man. They live in a different world. They don't think like us. Noah nodded, but he couldn't stop thinking about Ella's face when she defended him. The kid had been genuinely grateful, genuinely trying to make things right. She'd stood up to her own mother for him. That took guts. His phone buzzed in his pocket. Noah pulled it out and saw another message from the second number Catherine had used. Mr. Brooks, I understand you don't want to hear from me, but please know that I've spoken with festival security and made sure they have a complete, accurate report. I've also told them that I was wrong and that you did nothing but help my daughter. I know this doesn't undo what I said, but I wanted you to know that I'm trying to make sure there are no consequences for you from my mistake. I'm truly, deeply sorry. If you ever decide you're willing to talk, I'll be here. Catherine Langford. Noah showed the message to Marcus, who read it and snorted. She thinks an apology text makes up for almost getting you arrested? I don't think she thinks it makes up for it. I think she's just trying. Man, you're too nice. That's always been your problem. Maybe Marcus was right. Maybe being nice was Noah's problem. It had certainly gotten him in trouble last night. But he thought about Mia watching him help Ella, learning by example what it meant to be a good person. If he taught her to turn her back on people who needed help just because it was risky, what kind of lesson was that? The afternoon at the site passed like the morning. Hard physical work that left little room for thinking. By the time Noah clocked out at 4, he was exhausted but grateful for it. He drove home through rush hour traffic, picked up some groceries with what was left of his grocery budget, spaghetti, sauce, a bagged salad that was on sale, and made it back to the apartment by 4:25. Mia got home at 4:30 like clockwork. Noah heard the bus pull up and went to meet her at the door. She came in looking tired, dropping her backpack in the entryway. How was school? Okay, I guess. We had a spelling test. How'd you do? Pretty good. I only missed 2 words. That's great, baby. Go get changed and then you can have a snack while I make dinner. While Mia was in her room, Noah's phone rang. Not a text this time, an actual call from the number Catherine had been using. He stared at it for a long moment, his thumb hovering over the decline button. Then, for reasons he couldn't quite explain to himself, he answered, Hello? Mr. Brooks? Catherine Langford's voice was different than it had been last night, quieter, uncertain. Thank you for answering. I wasn't sure you would. I wasn't sure I would either. There was a pause. Noah could hear background noise on her end, voices, movement, like she was in a busy place. I won't take much of your time, Catherine said. I need you to know how sorry I am. What I did last night was inexcusable. I was terrified and I lashed out at the wrong person, and I traumatized you and your daughter in the process. There's no excuse for that. Noah didn't say anything. He didn't know what to say. I've made sure the security report reflects what actually happened, Catherine continued, and I've contacted the festival organizers to make sure any videos or photos from the incident are taken down. I can't undo what I said in that moment, but I'm trying to mitigate the damage. Why are you calling me? Noah asked. The question came out harsher than he intended. What do you want from me? Forgiveness? Permission to feel better about yourself? No. Catherine's voice was firm. I'm not calling for forgiveness. I'm calling because I owe you an apology delivered properly, as more than just a text message. And because Ella won't stop talking about you and your daughter. She wants to see Mia again. She wants to thank you properly. That surprised Noah. She wants to see Mia. She hasn't stopped talking about her since last night, about how kind Mia was, how she shared her daddy with a stranger, how brave she was. Ella doesn't have many friends. We move a lot for my work, and she's shy, but she really connected with Mia. Noah thought about that. Mia had seemed taken with Ella too, even in the midst of all the chaos. But letting the girls see each other meant more contact with Catherine Langford, and that felt dangerous. I don't think that's a good idea, he said. I understand. I just wanted you to know that the offer is open if you ever change your mind. Catherine paused. Mr. Brooks, can I ask you something? What? Why did you help her? You had your own daughter with you, your own plans for the evening. Most people would have just flagged down a security guard and kept walking. Why did you stop? Noah looked through the doorway to where Mia was coming back out of her room in sweatpants and her favorite sweater, the one with the rainbow on it. Because someone needed help and I could give it. That's reason enough. That's not how most people think. Maybe more people should. Another pause. Then Catherine said, I'd like to do something for you, to thank you properly and to try to make up for what I put you through. Please, let me buy you dinner, you and Mia, somewhere nice, anywhere you want. Ella would love to see Mia again, and I'd like the chance to apologize in person. I don't want your money or your fancy dinners. It's not about the money, it's about making amends. You can't make amends for what you did with a dinner. I know that. Catherine's voice was quiet. But I have to try something, please. One dinner. If you hate every second of it, you never have to hear from me again. But give me a chance to show you that I'm not just the worst version of myself that you saw last night. Noah closed his eyes. Every instinct told him to say no, to hang up, to keep his distance from this woman and her world. But he thought about Ella standing up for him, about the look on Mia's face when she'd been talking to the younger girl, about Sarah's voice in his head saying that everyone deserves a second chance. One dinner, he heard himself say. Somewhere casual. Not some five-star place where I don't know which fork to use. Anywhere you want. And if Mia seems uncomfortable at all, we leave. No questions asked. Of course. When? Would this Saturday work? I know it's close to Christmas, but Saturday's fine. Noah didn't have any other plans. He never had plans anymore. Thank you, Mr. Brooks. Thank you for giving me this chance. Call me Noah, and I'm not promising anything except showing up. That's all I'm asking. They made arrangements. A family restaurant Mia liked, nothing fancy, 6 o'clock on Saturday. When Noah hung up, he stood there for a moment wondering what he'd just agreed to. Daddy? Who was that? Mia appeared at his elbow, looking curious. That was Ella's mom, the little girl from last night. Mia's eyes went wide. Is she still mad at you? No, baby, she's not mad. She actually wanted to apologize, and she wanted to know if you'd like to have dinner with Ella on Saturday. Really? I can see Ella again? The pure excitement in Mia's voice made Noah's decision feel a little less crazy. Yeah, really, would you like that? Yes, oh yes, can we, Daddy, please? We're going to. I already said yes. Mia threw her arms around him, hugging him tight. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I liked Ella. She was scared, but she was still nice. And I want to make sure she's okay. Noah hugged her back, breathing in the strawberry scent of her shampoo. You have such a kind heart, baby girl. I learned from you. Those 4 words settled into Noah's chest and stayed there, warm and heavy. He'd spent 3 years worrying he wasn't enough, that Mia needed more than one grieving, struggling father could give her. But maybe he was teaching her the right things after all. They had spaghetti for dinner, Mia chattering the whole time about what she and Ella might do on Saturday, what she should wear, whether she should bring one of her toys to show Ella. Noah listened and made appropriate responses, but part of his mind was elsewhere, thinking about Saturday, about facing Catherine Langford again, about whether this was a terrible mistake. After dinner, Mia did her homework at the kitchen table while Noah washed dishes. His phone buzzed with one more text from Catherine. Thank you again for agreeing to dinner. I know I don't deserve your kindness. I'll do everything I can to make Saturday good for both our daughters. See you then. Noah didn't respond, just dried his hands and went to help Mia with her math worksheet. The next few days passed in their usual rhythm. Work at the construction site during the day, picking Mia up from school in the afternoon, making dinner, helping with homework, bedtime routines. Noah didn't tell anyone else about the Saturday dinner plans except Marcus, who thought he was crazy. You're walking into the lion's den, man, Marcus said during their lunch break on Thursday. Rich people like that, they don't apologize because they feel bad. They apologize because it makes them look good. Maybe. Or maybe she's just a mother who made a mistake and wants to fix it. You really believe that? Noah thought about the tone of Catherine's voice on the phone, the vulnerability in it. I don't know what I believe, but I'm going to give her a chance to prove it one way or another. Friday after work, Noah took Mia to Target to get her a new outfit for the dinner. He couldn't really afford it. The electric bill was now 3 weeks overdue and he'd gotten a disconnect notice. But he wanted Mia to feel special, and she'd been talking about the dinner all week with such excitement that he couldn't bear to dampen it. They found a dark blue dress with silver stars that Mia loved, on clearance for $18. Noah bought it along with new tights and told himself he'd figure out the electric bill somehow. He always did. Saturday arrived cold and clear. Noah spent the morning cleaning the apartment even though they weren't bringing anyone home, then helped Mia get ready. She put on her new dress and asked him to do her hair in 2 braids, which he managed after 3 attempts and a YouTube tutorial. "Do I look okay, Daddy?" she asked, spinning in front of their full-length mirror. "You look beautiful, baby." "What are you going to wear?" Noah looked down at his usual jeans and flannel shirt. He didn't own much else. 1 pair of khakis for parent-teacher conferences, 1 button-down shirt that was a little too tight now. He settled on his newest jeans, a black sweater Sarah had bought him years ago, and his only pair of shoes that weren't work boots or sneakers. They left the apartment at 5:30, even though the restaurant was only 15 minutes away. Noah wanted to be early, wanted to be in control of at least one aspect of this evening. The restaurant was called Frankie's Family Kitchen, a local chain that Mia loved because they had crayons at every table and chicken fingers shaped like dinosaurs. Noah parked, and they went inside, where the hostess greeted them cheerfully. "2 for dinner?" "Actually, we're meeting someone. Reservation under Langford?" The hostess checked her computer. "Oh yes, Ms. Langford called ahead. Right this way." She led them through the restaurant, which was decorated with vintage signs and checkered tablecloths, to a booth in the back corner. It was empty. Noah and Mia slid in, and the hostess left them with menus and a cup of crayons. "They're not here yet," Mia said, looking around nervously. "We're early. They'll be here." 5:45 came and went, then 5:50. Noah started to wonder if he'd been stood up, if this had all been some kind of elaborate game. But at 5:55, he saw them. Catherine Langford walked through the restaurant door holding Ella's hand. In the bright lights of Frankie's, she looked different than she had at the festival, smaller somehow, more human. She wore dark jeans and a simple cream sweater, her hair pulled back in a ponytail. No designer coat, no expensive jewelry. She could have been any other mother bringing her daughter to dinner. Ella saw them first. Her whole face lit up and she tugged on her mother's hand, pointing. Catherine said something Noah couldn't hear, and they made their way over to the booth. "Hi," Catherine said when they reached the table. Her voice was quiet, uncertain. "Thank you for coming." "My!" Ella practically shouted, bouncing on her toes. "You came! You really came!" Mia grinned, suddenly shy. "Hi, Ella." The 2 girls stared at each other for a moment, and then Ella climbed into the booth next to Mia without waiting for permission, already chattering about the dress Mia was wearing and how pretty it was, and did Mia want to color with her? Catherine watched them, something soft in her expression, before sliding into the booth across from Noah. They sat in awkward silence for a moment. "I wasn't sure you'd actually come," Catherine said finally. "I keep my promises." "I'm learning that." She looked down at her hands, which were folded on the table. "Noah, Let's just have dinner first," Noah interrupted. "The girls are happy." "Let's not ruin it by making things heavy right away." Catherine nodded, looking relieved. "Okay, yeah, dinner first." A waitress came by, a cheerful woman named Denise according to her name tag, and took their drink orders. The girls both wanted apple juice, Catherine asked for water, and Noah got a Coke. When Denise left, Catherine turned her attention to Ella and Mia, who were already deep in conversation about their favorite colors and animals and what they wanted Santa to bring them. "Ella hasn't stopped talking about Mia all week," Catherine said quietly. "Every night at bedtime she asks when she gets to see her new friend again." Noah watched his daughter coloring on the paper tablecloth with Ella, their heads close together, giggling about something. "Mia's been the same way. I think they really connected." "It's rare for Ella. Like I mentioned on the phone, we move a lot for my work. She's had a hard time making lasting friendships." "Where do you live now?" "We just moved to the area 3 months ago. We have a house in Maple Ridge." Noah knew Maple Ridge. It was the wealthiest neighborhood in the city. where houses started at 2 million and went up from there. A different world from his apartment complex with its thin walls and broken heater. Denise returned with their drinks and took their food orders. Ella and Mia both wanted the dinosaur chicken fingers. Catherine ordered a salad. Noah got a burger, very aware of the prices on the menu and grateful that Catherine had offered to pay. When Denise left again, Catherine took a sip of her water and said, "Can I ask you something? How old is Mia?" 7. She'll be 8 in March. Ella just turned 6 in October. I was 38 when I had her. Everyone told me I was too old, too focused on my career, that I'd waited too long. Catherine smiled, but there was sadness in it. They were probably right. There's no right age to become a parent. You do it when it happens. When did you become a father? Noah did the math in his head. I was 24 when Mia was born. Way too young, according to my parents. But Sarah, my wife, she wanted kids right away, and I wanted whatever made her happy. He saw Catherine notice the past tense. Sarah passed away? 3 years ago, cancer. I'm so sorry. The sympathy in Catherine's voice sounded genuine. That must have been devastating. It was. It still is sometimes, but you keep going because you have to, because there's a little person depending on you. Catherine was quiet for a moment, watching Ella and Mia. I admire that. The way you show up for her. Ella's father. He's not in the picture, never has been, really. It was a brief relationship that resulted in a pregnancy, and he made it very clear he wanted no part of parenthood. I've been doing this alone since the beginning. It's hard, isn't it, single parenting? The hardest thing I've ever done. And I've built a multi-billion-dollar company from nothing, so that's saying something. She laughed, but there was no humor in it. I can manage hundreds of employees and complex negotiations and board meetings, but sometimes I can't figure out how to braid my daughter's hair or why she won't eat her vegetables. Noah found himself relating to that more than he'd expected. YouTube tutorials are your friend. I've learned everything from braiding to making Halloween costumes from YouTube. You make her Halloween costumes? Can't afford to buy them, but don't tell Mia that. She thinks I make them because I'm crafty. Catherine's expression shifted into something Noah couldn't quite read. Before she could respond, their food arrived. The girls attacked their dinosaur chicken fingers with enthusiasm, and for a few minutes everyone focused on eating. Noah was halfway through his burger when Ella suddenly said, "Mama, did you say sorry to Noah yet?" The table went silent. Catherine's face flushed. "Ella, we talked about this, but you said you were going to apologize. You said what you did was wrong, and you had to make it right." Ella turned to Noah, her expression serious. "My mama was really mean to you at the festival, but she feels really bad about it. She cried about it every day this week." "Ella!" Catherine looked mortified, but Noah was looking at this little girl who had no filter, no guile, who just said exactly what she was thinking. And despite everything, he found himself almost smiling. "It's okay, Ella. Your mama and I are working it out. Good. Because you're nice and you helped me, and she shouldn't have yelled at you." Ella went back to her chicken fingers like the matter was settled. Mia was watching the whole exchange with wide eyes. Noah gave her a reassuring smile, and she relaxed, picking up a crayon to continue her drawing. Catherine cleared her throat. "She's not wrong. I do owe you a proper apology, and I've been putting it off because I don't know how to put into words how sorry I am." She set down her fork and looked directly at Noah. "What I did at that festival was unforgivable. I let my fear override my judgment, and I accused you of something horrible when all you were doing was helping my daughter. I traumatized you and Mia, and I could have ruined your life. There's no excuse for that, and I'm sorrier than I can express." Noah set down his own burger. "I understand being scared. If Mia was lost, I'd be terrified too. But you went from scared to accusatory so fast, and you didn't even pause to listen to what actually happened. That's what I can't get past. Not that you were afraid, but that you were so ready to believe the worst of a complete stranger. You're right, and I think that says more about my own issues than it does about you." Catherine's voice was quiet. "I spend my days in boardrooms full of people trying to take advantage of me, trying to get something from me. I've learned to be suspicious, to trust no one, to always look for the angle, and I let that bleed into every part of my life, including how I parent. When I couldn't find Ella, my first thought wasn't that some good Samaritan had helped her. It was that someone had taken her to ransom her back to me for money, because that's how I've learned to see the world. She looked down at her hands. But that's my problem to fix. It's not an excuse for what I did to you. Noah thought about that, about living in a world where you couldn't trust anyone's motives, where every kind gesture might be a manipulation. It sounded exhausting. Apology accepted, he said finally. Not because what you did was okay, but because I don't want to carry anger around, and because our daughters clearly want to be friends, and I don't want my issues with you to ruin that for them. Catherine's eyes glistened. Thank you. That's more than I deserve. They finished their meal in a more comfortable silence, the girls chattering away beside them. When Denise brought the check, Catherine took it before Noah could even reach for it. Please, she said when he started to protest. Let me do this. Noah nodded and sat back, watching as Catherine pulled out a black credit card and handed it to Denise without even looking at the total. Can Mia come to our house sometime? Ella asked suddenly. We have a big playroom and lots of toys and a yard with a swing set. Noah and Catherine looked at each other across the table. Maybe sometime, Noah said carefully, if that's okay with your mama. Of course it's okay, Catherine said. Ella doesn't have many friends over. I'd love for Mia to visit. And can I come to Mia's house? Ella pressed. Mia looked at Noah with hopeful eyes. He thought about his small apartment with its threadbare furniture and broken heater, thought about how it would look to someone like Catherine Langford. But then he thought about teaching Mia that their home was something to be ashamed of versus teaching her that home is about love, not luxury. Sure, baby. Ella can come visit us too. The girls cheered, already making plans for all the things they'd do together. Denise returned with the receipt and Catherine signed it. As they all slid out of the booth, Ella grabbed Mia's hand. This was the best dinner ever, she announced. Mia grinned. Yeah, it was. Outside, the December night had turned even colder. Noah pulled Mia's coat tighter around her while Catherine did the same for Ella. The parking lot was half full, and Noah could see his beat-up truck parked near the back. Thank you again for coming, Catherine said, and for giving me a chance to apologize properly. Thank you for dinner. They stood there awkwardly for a moment, and then Ella threw her arms around Mia in a fierce hug. Bye, Mia. I'll see you soon. Bye, Ella. The two girls separated reluctantly, and Catherine took Ella's hand to walk her to their car, a sleek black Mercedes that probably cost more than Noah made in 5 years. Noah and Mia walked to the truck, and he lifted her into her booster seat. I really like Ella, Mia said as he buckled her in, and her mama seems nice now, not scary like at the festival. People can surprise you, Noah said. Sometimes they show you their worst side first, but that doesn't mean that's all they are. As he drove them home through the quiet streets, Noah found himself thinking about second chances and the strange ways life connected people. A week ago, he didn't know Catherine or Ella Langford existed. Now their daughters were planning playdates, and he was trying to figure out what to make of a woman who'd almost destroyed his life and then bought him dinner to apologize. His phone buzzed as they pulled into the apartment complex. A text from Catherine's number. Thank you again for tonight. Ella is already asking when she can see Mia again. If you're free next Saturday, we'd love to have you both over to our house for lunch. No pressure, just an offer. Either way, I'm grateful you gave me this chance. See. Noah didn't respond right away, just helped Mia out of the truck and up the stairs to their apartment. But later, after Mia was asleep and he was sitting on the couch with a beer he couldn't really afford, he pulled out his phone and typed, "Next Saturday works. Just send me your address." He hit send before he could overthink it, before he could talk himself out of whatever this was becoming. 3 dots appeared immediately, Catherine typing a response. Then, thank you. I promise we'll make it a good day. Address is 2847 Birchwood Lane. Come around noon? We'll be there. Noah set his phone down and took a long drink of his beer, staring at the ceiling. Somewhere across town, in a house he could probably fit his entire apartment into 3 times over, a woman he'd met under the worst possible circumstances was probably doing the same thing, sitting alone after her daughter went to bed, trying to figure out what came next. And Noah realized that despite everything, despite the accusations and the fear and the fundamental difference in their worlds, he was curious enough to find out. The week leading up to Saturday felt longer than it should have. Noah went through his usual routines, work at the construction site, picking up Mia from school, making dinner from whatever was left in the pantry. but his mind kept drifting to that address Catherine had sent him. 2847 Birchwood Lane. He'd Googled it one night after Mia went to bed, using the satellite view to see what he was getting himself into. The house was massive, not just big, but estate-level massive, with perfectly manicured lawns and what looked like a separate guest house in the back. Noah had zoomed in on the image until he could see the stone fountain in the circular driveway, the tall windows that probably cost more than his truck, the privacy fence that surrounded the entire property. "You're overthinking this," Marcus had told him on Thursday when Noah mentioned his nervousness during lunch break. "It's just lunch. You go, the girls play, you eat some fancy food, you leave. What's the worst that could happen?" But Noah couldn't shake the feeling that he was walking into something bigger than just lunch. Every time his phone buzzed with a text from Catherine, and she'd been texting throughout the week, friendly messages about what Ella was excited to show Mia, asking if Mia had any food allergies, making sure noon still worked. He felt that same mix of curiosity and caution. On Friday night, Mia laid out 3 different outfits on her bed, trying to decide what to wear to Ella's house. "What about this one?" she asked, holding up her favorite purple shirt with the sparkly heart. "That's nice, baby." "But maybe this one is better?" She switched to a pink dress she'd worn to her school's spring concert last year. Noah sat on the edge of her bed, watching her deliberate with an intensity usually reserved for much bigger decisions. "Mia, Ella's your friend. She won't care what you're wearing." "But her house is really fancy, right? You said it was big." "Big doesn't mean you have to dress up. Just wear whatever makes you comfortable." Mia bit her lip, thinking. "Will there be other kids there?" "I don't think so. Why?" "I don't know. What if Ella has other friends and she doesn't want to play with me anymore?" Noah's heart squeezed. He pulled Mia onto his lap, even though she was getting too big for it. "Hey, where's this coming from? Ella was so excited to see you at dinner. She asked her mama if you could come over. That means she wants to spend time with you. Just you." "But what if her house is so cool that she realizes our apartment is boring?" There it was, the real fear underneath all the outfit changes and questions. Noah had been so focused on his own anxiety about the visit that he hadn't considered Mia might be developing her own insecurities about the difference in their circumstances. "Mia, look at me." He waited until her green eyes met his. "Our home isn't boring. It's full of love and laughter and all the things that matter, and anyone who can't see that isn't worth worrying about, okay?" "Okay," Mia said quietly. "Besides, Ella's been living in a big fancy house her whole life. She probably thinks it's boring. But you know what she doesn't have? A daddy who makes funny faces when he burns dinner, or movie nights on a couch that's seen better days, or a kitchen where you can help make cookies whenever you want. Those are the things that make a home special." Mia considered this, then nodded more firmly. "You're right, and Ella's mama seems really busy. Ella probably doesn't get to do as much fun stuff with her." Noah wasn't sure that was entirely fair to Catherine, but he let it slide. "Exactly. So you just be yourself tomorrow, wear whatever you want, and have fun with your friend. Deal?" "Deal." She settled on the purple shirt with jeans, and Noah helped her hang the other options back in her closet. As he tucked her into bed that night, she looked up at him with those 2 wise eyes. "Daddy, do you like Ella's mama now? Are you still mad at her?" The question caught him off guard. "I'm not mad at her anymore, no. I don't know if I like her yet. I barely know her, but she's trying to make things right, and I think that counts for something." She must have been really scared when she couldn't find Ella, like how you get scared when you can't find me at the grocery store. "Yeah, baby, exactly like that." "Then I guess I can't be mad at her either. Being a parent is hard, huh?" Noah laughed, pressing a kiss to her forehead. "The hardest thing in the world. Now get some sleep. Big day tomorrow." He left her door cracked open and went to his own room, but sleep was hard to come by. Noah lay awake thinking about the next day, about walking into Catherine Langford's world, about what it would feel like to see exactly how the other half lived. Saturday morning dawned gray and cold, with the weather forecast promising snow by evening. Noah made pancakes for breakfast, Mia's favorite, and tried not to let his nervousness show. They had a few hours before they needed to leave, so he let Mia watch cartoons while he cleaned the apartment, even though Catherine would never see it. At 11:30, they got in the truck and headed toward Maple Ridge. The drive took them through progressively nicer neighborhoods, the houses getting larger and the lawns getting more pristine with each passing mile. By the time Noah turned on to Birchwood Lane, he felt like he'd driven into a different city entirely. The houses here were spaced far apart, each one sitting on at least an acre of land, separated from the street by gates and walls and hedges. Number 2847 appeared on the right, and Noah had to pause to take it in. The satellite image hadn't done it justice. The house was a modern architectural masterpiece, all clean lines and floor-to-ceiling windows, white stone and dark wood. The driveway curved around that fountain he'd seen online, an elaborate thing with multiple tiers and what looked like actual marble. The lawn was perfect despite the winter cold, and mature trees lined the property, bare now but still imposing. "Whoa," Mia breathed from the back seat. "That's Ella's house?" "That's what the address says." "It's like a castle." Noah pulled into the driveway, his truck looking especially beat up next to the Mercedes and what looked like a Tesla in the three-car garage. He parked near the front entrance, turned off the engine, and sat there for a moment. "You ready, baby?" Mia nodded, though she looked as nervous as Noah felt. They got out of the truck, and Noah took Mia's hand as they walked up to the front door. Before he could even ring the bell, the door flew open and Ella came barreling out, nearly tripping over herself in her excitement. "Mia, you came! I've been watching for your car for like an hour!" She grabbed Mia's other hand. "Come on, I have to show you everything. We have a playroom and I got new art supplies, and Mama said we could make cookies later, and—" "Ella, let them come inside first," Catherine's voice cut in gently. She appeared in the doorway, and Noah was struck again by how different she looked from that first night. Today she wore jeans and a soft gray sweater, her hair down around her shoulders, no makeup that he could see. She looked younger, more relaxed. "Sorry," Ella said, not sounding sorry at all, "but Mia needs to see my room. It's so cool." "In a minute," Catherine said. "Let's at least say hello properly first." She stepped back, gesturing them inside. "Come in, please." "Welcome." Noah and Mia stepped into the entryway, and he had to stop himself from openly gaping. The space was enormous, with soaring ceilings and a massive chandelier that probably cost more than his annual salary. The floors were some kind of pale hardwood that gleamed under the light, and a curved staircase swept up to the second floor. Through an archway to the left, he could see a living room that looked like it belonged in a magazine, all white furniture and abstract art. "Can I take your coats?" Catherine asked. Noah shrugged out of his worn Carhartt jacket, suddenly very aware of how shabby it looked in this space. Catherine took it without comment and hung it in a closet that was bigger than Mia's bedroom, then helped Mia out of her purple winter coat. "The girls can go play for a bit before lunch, if that's okay," Catherine said. "I thought we could eat around 12:30. "That's fine." "Come on, Mia." Ella was already pulling her toward the staircase. "My room is upstairs. Wait until you see all my stuffed animals." The girls disappeared up the stairs in a thunder of footsteps and giggles, leaving Noah and Catherine standing in the cavernous entryway. "Your home is beautiful," Noah said, because he had to say something. "Thank you. It's a lot, I know." Catherine gave a self-deprecating smile. "I bought it because the real estate agent said it was a good investment, but honestly, it's way too much space for just the two of us. Most of these rooms never get used." She led him through the house toward the kitchen, and Noah tried not to stare at everything they passed. A dining room with a table that could seat 12, a library with floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, a home office visible through a glass door, all sleek desk and expensive computer equipment. The kitchen was somehow both massive and cozy, with white cabinets and marble countertops and windows that overlooked a backyard that seemed to go on forever. A pot of something that smelled amazing was simmering on the stove. "I made soup," Catherine said, following his gaze. "Homemade chicken noodle. I wasn't sure what Mia would like, and Ella said kids always like chicken noodle soup, so—" She trailed off, looking uncertain. "That sounds great. Mia loves soup." "Good. That's good." Catherine moved to the stove, stirring the pot, even though it probably didn't need it. "Can I get you something to drink?" "I have coffee, tea, water, juice, soda, pretty much anything." "Coffee would be great if it's not too much trouble." "No trouble at all. How do you take it?" "Just black." Catherine poured him a cup from a fancy machine that probably cost more than his monthly rent, then made herself tea. They sat at the kitchen island on bar stools that were more comfortable than any chair in Noah's apartment. "The house is quiet when it's just me," Catherine said after a moment. "I can hear every sound." "It's nice having children's laughter in it for a change. How long have you lived here?" 3 months, like I mentioned. Before this, we were in Seattle for 2 years, and before that, Boston. Ella's been in 5 different cities in her 6 years of life. Catherine wrapped her hands around her tea mug. "It's the nature of my work. I go where the company needs me. But it's been hard on her." "Must be hard on you too, never getting to put down roots." "I'm used to it. I've been moving around since I was in my 20s, building the company. But I'm starting to think—" She paused, choosing her words carefully. "I'm starting to think that what worked for me before I had Ella doesn't work anymore. She needs stability, friends, a real home, not just a house we'll leave in a couple of years." Noah sipped his coffee, which was excellent. "Is that why you moved here? To stay?" "Maybe. Probably. I haven't made it official yet, but this city has always felt different to me. My company's headquarters is here, so it makes sense. And Ella seems happier here than she's been anywhere else." Catherine looked at him. "I think that has a lot to do with Mia, honestly. She hasn't connected with another child this quickly before." As if on cue, laughter exploded from somewhere upstairs, followed by the sound of running feet. "They're good together," Noah agreed. "Mia's been talking about Ella all week." They fell into a comfortable silence, broken only by the ticking of an expensive-looking clock on the wall and the occasional burst of giggles from upstairs. Noah found himself relaxing despite the intimidating surroundings. Catherine seemed genuine, less guarded than she'd been at the restaurant. "I owe you more than just an apology," Catherine said suddenly. "I owe you an explanation for why I reacted the way I did that night. You don't have to—" "I do, actually. Because if we're going to let our daughters be friends, you deserve to know that I'm not always that person. That I'm not—" She struggled for words. "That I'm not a monster." Noah set down his coffee cup. "I never thought you were a monster, just someone who made a bad call in a bad moment. It was more than that." Catherine took a breath. "When Ella was 3, we were living in New York. I had hired a nanny. This woman who came highly recommended, had impeccable references, seemed perfect. One day I came home early from work and found Ella alone in the apartment. The nanny was gone. Just gone. She'd left a 3-year-old alone for hours." Noah felt his stomach drop. "What happened?" "Ella was fine, thankfully. Terrified and crying, but fine. I fired the nanny immediately, of course, and I called the police. Turns out she'd been stealing from us. Jewelry, cash, anything she could sell. She'd probably panicked and run when she thought I might catch her." "That's awful." "It was. And it changed me. Made me paranoid. After that, I couldn't trust anyone around Ella. I went through 6 different nannies in a year, finding reasons to fire each one. I started working from home more, bringing Ella to the office, anything to keep her in my sight." Catherine's hands tightened around her mug. "So that night at the festival, when I couldn't find her, all I could think about was that nanny. All I could imagine was someone taking advantage of my distraction, taking my daughter, and I snapped." Noah understood it now, that instant shift from panic to rage, the accusation that had seemed so out of proportion. It wasn't about him at all. It was about Catherine's past trauma bubbling up and spilling over onto an innocent target. "I get it," he said quietly. "We all have our triggers. Mine is anyone threatening to take Mia away from me. When those security guards were about to take me to the back office, all I could think about was what would happen to her if I was arrested. Who would take care of her? Whether the state would try to put her in foster care while everything got sorted out. I put that fear in you. I'm so sorry. You didn't know. And honestly, your fear makes sense given what happened to you, but Catherine..." He waited until she looked at him. "You can't let one bad experience make you suspicious of everyone. Most people are good. Most people are just trying to help. I'm learning that. Or trying to." She managed a small smile. "Ella's been my teacher this week. Every day she tells me about how kind you and Mia were, how you made her feel safe when she was scared. She's 6 years old, and she saw the truth of the situation more clearly than I did. Kids are good at that. They haven't learned to be cynical yet." More laughter from upstairs, this time accompanied by music, something pop and cheerful that Noah recognized from Mia's favorite playlist. Catherine glanced at the clock. I should probably check on them before they destroy Ella's room. Want to come see the playroom? It's Ella's favorite part of the house. Noah followed her upstairs, down a hallway lined with family photos. Catherine and Ella, at various ages, at various locations, always just the two of them. No father, no grandparents, just mother and daughter against the world. The playroom was at the end of the hall, and Noah had to admit it was impressive. It was larger than his entire living room, filled with every toy imaginable. A kitchen set in one corner, a reading nook with beanbags and shelves full of books, an art station with an easel and supplies, a dress-up area with costumes and a full-length mirror. The girls were in the middle of the room, surrounded by stuffed animals that they were apparently organizing by size. This one goes here, Mia was saying, placing a large teddy bear at one end of their line. And this little bunny goes at the other end. But what about the medium ones? Ella asked, holding up a stuffed elephant. Those go in the middle, silly. They both dissolved into giggles. Catherine leaned against the doorframe, watching them with such open affection that Noah felt like he was intruding on a private moment. She's never had a friend over before, Catherine said quietly. I mean, we've tried play dates with daughters of business colleagues, but Ella always said they weren't really her friends. This is different. Mia's the same way. She has kids she plays with at school, but she's never asked to have anyone over to our place. Noah watched his daughter arranging stuffed animals with intense concentration. I think they were both waiting to find someone who really got them. They stood there for a few more minutes, watching the girls play, and then Catherine said lunch would be ready soon and they should probably wash up. The dining room table was set for 4, though it could have held 8 more people easily. Catherine had put out the soup in a fancy tureen, along with fresh bread that she admitted she'd bought from a bakery that morning because she didn't trust herself to make it, and a salad that looked like it belonged in a restaurant. This is so fancy, Mia whispered to Noah as they sat down. Just use your manners, and it'll be fine, he whispered back. But Catherine had heard. It's not that fancy, she said with a smile. It's just lunch. Please, everyone dig in. The soup was delicious, and Noah said so. Catherine looked pleased. I don't cook much. Usually we have a meal service that delivers, but I wanted to make something homemade today. You did great, Noah assured her. Mama's soup is the best, Ella announced loyally. Better than the restaurant kind. Mia nodded enthusiastically, her mouth full of noodles. The conversation flowed easily. The girls chattered about their plans to make cookies after lunch, about what movies they liked, about what they wanted to be when they grew up. Ella wanted to be a veterinarian. Mia wanted to be a teacher like her favorite teacher, Mrs. Henderson. Those are both excellent choices, Catherine said. You can be anything you want to be if you work hard enough. Daddy says that too, Mia said. He says I'm smart enough to do anything. Your daddy's right. After lunch, the girls did indeed make cookies, or rather, they made a spectacular mess while Catherine supervised and Noah tried to help without getting in the way. The kitchen ended up covered in flour, and the cookies came out slightly burnt on the edges, but the girls were so proud of them that it didn't matter. These are the best cookies I've ever made, Ella declared, biting into one. Me too, Mia agreed. While the cookies cooled, Catherine suggested they go outside to see the backyard before the snow started. She bundled the girls into coats and led everyone through French doors onto a massive deck that overlooked what could only be described as a private park. The yard stretched back at least half an acre, with a swing set that looked like it belonged to a playground, a trampoline enclosed in safety netting, and what appeared to be a small garden area dormant now for winter. At the very back was a fence, and beyond that, woods. Can we go on the swings? Ella asked. Sure, baby. Just stay where I can see you. The girls ran off toward the swing set, and Noah stood on the deck next to Catherine, looking out over the property. It's beautiful here, he said. It is, though I'll admit sometimes it feels like too much. Ella and I are just 2 people. We don't need all this space. Why did you buy it then? Catherine was quiet for a moment. Honestly, because I could. Because I spent my whole childhood in a 2-bedroom apartment with my mother and sister, sharing everything, never having space to myself. When I made my first million, I promised myself I'd never live like that again. She laughed, but it sounded hollow. Turns out, Having too much space can be just as lonely as having too little. Noah thought about his cramped apartment, about sharing a bathroom with his 7-year-old and sleeping on a mattress that sagged in the middle. But he also thought about movie nights on the couch with Mia, about making breakfast together in their tiny kitchen, about the closeness that came from sharing a small space. I get that, he said, but I think home isn't about the space you have. It's about what you do with it, who you share it with. You're probably right. Catherine watched Ella pushing Mia on the swing, both girls shrieking with laughter. I've been so focused on giving Ella things, the best schools, the best toys, the biggest house, that I forgot to just give her time. Presents. The things that actually matter. You're here now. That's what counts. Catherine turned to look at him, something searching in her expression. Can I ask you something? And please be honest. Okay. Do you think I'm a bad mother? The question caught Noah completely off guard. What? No. Why would you think that? Because I let my daughter get lost at a festival, because I work too much, because I hired nannies to raise her instead of doing it myself, because I live in a house so big she probably feels lost in it, because... Catherine, stop. Noah's voice was firm. You're not a bad mother. You're a mother who's trying her best in a situation most people can't even imagine. You're running a company, raising a kid alone, dealing with your own trauma. Yeah, you made a mistake at the festival. So what? Every parent makes mistakes. I burn dinner twice a week, and I once forgot it was pajama day at Mia's school and sent her in regular clothes. Does that make me a bad father? That's different. It's not different. We're all just doing our best. And Ella, look at her. She's happy. She's confident. She's kind. You did that. Whatever you're doing, it's working. Catherine's eyes were bright with unshed tears. Thank you for saying that. I think I needed to hear it. They stood in companionable silence, watching the girls play. After a while, Mia called out, Daddy, come push us. We want to go really high. Noah jogged down the deck steps and across the perfect lawn to the swing set, and Catherine followed. They spent the next hour pushing the girls on swings, helping them on the trampoline, playing a game of tag that left everyone breathless and laughing. At some point, the first snowflakes started to fall, fat, lazy flakes that dusted everything in white. Ella and Mia tried to catch them on their tongues, spinning in circles until they were dizzy. I love snow, Mia said, flopping onto the grass. It makes everything look clean and new. Ella flopped down next to her. Like magic. Noah looked at his watch and was shocked to see it was almost 4 o'clock. They'd been here for 4 hours, and it had felt like no time at all. We should probably head home soon, he said reluctantly. I don't want to drive in heavy snow. Can't Mia stay longer? Ella begged. Please, we were going to watch a movie. Ella, Mia has to go home, Catherine said gently. But maybe she can come back another time. Can she come back tomorrow? Catherine and Noah both laughed. How about next weekend? Catherine suggested, looking at Noah for confirmation. If that works for you? That works, Noah agreed, and Mia cheered. Inside, they gathered up Mia's coat and the container of cookies Catherine insisted they take home. The girls hugged goodbye at the door, promising to text each other. Catherine had given Mia her tablet, logged into a kid-safe messaging app so the girls could stay in touch. Thank you for coming, Catherine said as Noah and Mia headed toward the truck. This meant a lot to Ella, to both of us. Thank you for having us. And for the cookies. Next time maybe you could come to our place, Mia piped up. It's not as big, but we have really good hot chocolate, Catherine smiled. I'd like that very much. In the truck, pulling away from the house, Mia was quiet for a few minutes. Then she said, Daddy, Ella's house is really nice. It is. But I think our home is better. Noah glanced at her in the rearview mirror. Yeah? Why's that? Because Ella's house is big and pretty, but it feels kind of empty, like there's too much space and not enough people to fill it. Our apartment is small, but it feels full. Full of us. Noah's throat tightened. You know what, baby? You're absolutely right. The snow is coming down harder now, accumulating on the windshield between swipes of the wipers. Noah drove carefully through the increasingly white streets, back through the nice neighborhoods toward their own part of town. His phone buzzed with a text as they pulled into the apartment complex. Catherine. Thank you again for today. Ella's already asking when Mia can come back. I know this is all happening fast, but I'm grateful for it. You and Mia have brought something into our lives that I didn't know we were missing. See, Noah thought about that as he helped Mia out of the truck and up the stairs to their apartment. What they'd brought into Catherine and Ella's lives was probably the same thing Catherine and Ella were bringing into theirs. Connection. The knowledge that you weren't alone in this hard, messy, beautiful work of being a parent. Inside their small apartment, Mia immediately changed into her pajamas and turned on the TV. Noah made them both hot chocolate, the cheap packet kind from the grocery store, nothing like the fancy machine at Catherine's house, and they curled up on their worn couch together. Today was a good day, Mia said, resting her head on his shoulder. Yeah, baby, it really was. And as the snow continued to fall outside their window, covering the parking lot and the sad little grass strip and everything else in a blanket of white, Noah felt something shift inside him. He'd spent 3 years keeping the world at arm's length, focused solely on survival and on being enough for Mia. But maybe, just maybe, it was okay to let someone else in. To accept that you could be strong and still need help sometimes. To believe that not everyone who extended a hand was trying to take something from you. His phone buzzed again. Another text from Catherine. I know it's early to ask, but what are you and Mia doing for Christmas? Ella and I don't have any plans, and I was thinking maybe we could spend it together, all 4 of us? Noah stared at the message for a long time. Christmas had always been just him and Mia since Sarah died. Their private tradition of Chinese takeout and watching holiday movies, exchanging small gifts they could barely afford, making the most of what they had. But Mia had loved today, and Ella clearly needed friends as much as Mia did. And Catherine, despite everything, despite the rocky start, seemed like she was genuinely trying to be better, to do better. He typed back. Let us think about it. It's kind of our special day, just me and Mia, but maybe we could do something together. I'll talk to her and let you know. The response came quickly. Of course, no pressure. Whatever you're comfortable with. Sleep well. See? Noah set his phone down and pulled Mia closer, breathing in the strawberry scent of her shampoo, feeling the solid warmth of her against his side. Outside, the snow kept falling, transforming the world into something new, something clean, something full of possibilities he hadn't imagined even a week ago. And for the first time in a long time, Noah let himself hope that maybe, just maybe, their small family of 2 was about to become something bigger, something stronger, something that could weather any storm together. The conversation about Christmas came up naturally the next morning over pancakes. Mia was still buzzing about her day at Ella's house, recounting every detail Noah had already heard at least twice. And then we jumped on the trampoline and I went so high, Daddy, like really high, and Ella said I was brave because she's still scared to jump that high. And then Mia, slow down, Noah laughed, flipping another pancake. Chew your food. She swallowed, then immediately continued. Can Ella come here next time? I want to show her my room and my stuffed animals and we could watch movies and... Oh, maybe she could sleep over? Have you ever had a sleepover, Daddy? Once or twice when I was a kid. Can I have one, please? Noah slid a fresh pancake onto her plate. Maybe eventually. Let's see how a regular visit goes first. He paused, considering his words. Actually, Ella's mom asked if maybe we'd want to spend Christmas together. All 4 of us. What do you think about that? Mia's eyes went wide. Really? We could spend Christmas with Ella? Possibly, but I wanted to check with you first. Christmas has always been our special day. Just you and me. If you want to keep it that way, that's totally okay. Mia was quiet for a moment, pushing syrup around her plate with her fork. Noah waited, letting her think it through without pressure. I like our Christmas, she said finally. I like the Chinese food and the movies and how we wear pajamas all day. Me too, baby. But... She looked up at him. Ella doesn't have a daddy, and her mama seems really busy. I bet their Christmas is kind of lonely. Maybe we could share ours with them. Make it special for all of us? Noah felt his heart squeeze. When had his 7-year-old become so wise, so empathetic? You know what? I think that's a beautiful idea. We could do our traditions and include them. Make new traditions too. Can we still get Chinese food? Absolutely. And watch movies in pajamas? Wouldn't be Christmas without it. Mia grinned. Then yes, Let's have Christmas with Ella and Catherine. Noah texted Catherine later that morning while Mia was absorbed in coloring at the kitchen table. The response came within minutes, and he could almost feel the relief and happiness through the screen. That would be wonderful. Thank you. Would you like to come here, or would you prefer we come to you? Noah thought about his small apartment, about the secondhand decorations he'd put up yesterday, a 3-foot artificial tree from Target, some paper snowflakes Mia had made in school, a strand of lights that only worked if you jiggled the plug just right. Then he thought about what Mia had said, about sharing what they had, about not being ashamed of their home. He typed back, "Why don't you come here? It won't be fancy, but it'll be real, and Mia wants to show Ella her room." Perfect. What time? Come around noon. We usually do presents in the morning, just the two of us, then Chinese food for lunch, then movies all afternoon. We'll be there? Can I bring anything? Just yourselves, and maybe Ella's favorite movie. We'll make a whole marathon of it. Thank you, Noah, for giving us this. I know it's a big step. He stared at that message for a long moment before responding. Everyone deserves family at Christmas, even if it's the family you choose instead of the one you're born with. The week before Christmas was chaotic. Work at the construction site picked up as everyone tried to finish projects before the holiday shutdown. Noah pulled 2 overtime shifts, grateful for the extra money even though it meant less time with Mia. The electric bill got paid finally, and he even managed to buy Mia the art set she'd been wanting, 64 colors of markers and a sketch pad, on sale at the craft store. Meanwhile, Mia and Ella were texting constantly on the KidSafe app. Noah would hear the tablet chime, and Mia would rush over to read Ella's messages, then spend 10 minutes carefully typing out responses with her 2-finger typing method. Ella says she's never had Chinese food, Mia reported on Tuesday evening. Can you believe that? She's never had dumplings or fried rice or anything. Then we'll make sure she tries all the best things, Noah promised. On Wednesday, Catherine texted him directly. I hope this isn't overstepping, but I'd like to bring gifts for Mia. Nothing extravagant. I promise I won't show up with a pony or anything. Just a few things I think she'd enjoy. Would that be okay? Noah's first instinct was to say no, that it wasn't necessary, that he didn't want charity, but he forced himself to really think about it. Catherine wasn't offering out of pity. She was offering because that's what you did at Christmas. You gave gifts to people you cared about. And whether he was ready to admit it or not, Catherine and Ella were becoming people in his and Mia's life. That would be kind of you, he typed back. Thank you. But please, nothing too big. Mia's not used to expensive things, and I don't want her to get the wrong expectations about life. I understand completely. I'll keep it thoughtful and reasonable, I promise. And for what it's worth, I got something for Ella too. Just something small. There was a pause before Catherine's response came. You didn't have to do that. I know, but Mia insisted, and honestly, I wanted to. Ella's been a good friend to my daughter. Thank you. That means more than you know. Noah had taken Mia shopping at the dollar store and the discount craft store, and together they'd picked out a sketchbook with unicorns on the cover, a pack of glitter pens, and some stickers. Mia had made a card too, painstakingly writing out, "To my best friend Ella, Merry Christmas, love Mia," in her careful 7-year-old handwriting. Christmas Eve arrived with more snow and temperatures cold enough that Noah's truck took 3 tries to start. He'd taken the day off from work, a luxury he couldn't really afford but deemed necessary, to spend it with Mia. They baked cookies from a tube of pre-made dough, decorated the apartment with the few decorations they had, and watched A Christmas Story while drinking hot chocolate. That evening, after Mia was in bed, Noah sat on the couch and looked at their little tree. He'd put Ella's present under it, wrapped in newspaper comics since he'd run out of wrapping paper. Next to it were the 3 small gifts he'd gotten for Mia: the art set, a book she'd been wanting, and a new winter hat since her old one had a hole in it. It wasn't much compared to what other kids probably got, compared to what Ella probably had under her tree in that massive house. But it was given with love, and that had to count for something. His phone buzzed, a text from Catherine. Merry Christmas Eve. Ella wanted me to tell you she can't wait for tomorrow. Neither can I, honestly. Sleep well. Noah smiled and typed back, Merry Christmas Eve to you too. See you tomorrow. Christmas morning dawned bright and cold, the sun glinting off the snow that covered everything. Mia was up at 6:30, shaking Noah awake with barely contained excitement. Daddy, Daddy, it's Christmas! Can we do presents now, please? Noah groaned and checked his phone. Baby, it's so early. But it's Christmas! He couldn't argue with that logic. They stumbled out to the living room together, Mia in her candy cane pajamas and Noah in sweatpants and the old t-shirt he'd slept in. Noah made coffee while Mia sat by the tree, practically vibrating with anticipation. Okay, I'm coming, he said, settling onto the floor next to her. You want to go first? You first, Daddy. I like watching you open presents. Noah had told her not to get him anything. They couldn't afford it, but of course she had anyway. It was a picture frame made from popsicle sticks, painted gold and covered in glitter, with a photo of the two of them from last summer. Mia had written on the back in marker, "Best Daddy Ever." Mia, this is perfect, he said, his voice rough. I love it. Really? You're not just saying that? Really and truly. It's going on my nightstand so I can see it every day. Mia beamed. Okay, my turn now. She opened her presents with the unself-conscious joy of a child, gasping over the art set like it was made of gold, hugging the book to her chest, immediately putting on the winter hat even though they were inside. These are the best presents, Daddy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're welcome, baby girl. Merry Christmas. They spent the morning in pajamas, Mia testing out every single marker in her new set, while Noah made them a simple breakfast of eggs and toast. Around 11, Noah took a shower and got dressed in jeans and a sweater, and Mia changed into the red dress she'd picked out for the occasion. Do I look okay? She asked, spinning to show him. You look beautiful. Now help me set up the table, okay? Our guests will be here soon. They pulled out their small dining table from against the wall and covered it with a tablecloth Noah had found at Goodwill last year. Mia set out plates and cups while Noah arranged the Chinese food menus, trying to remember what Catherine had said about Ella's dietary restrictions. No nuts, he was pretty sure. Or was it no shellfish? He made a mental note to ask when they arrived. At 11:55, Noah heard footsteps on the exterior stairs, followed by a gentle knock on the door. Mia ran to answer it, and Noah heard her excited squeal as she saw Ella. You came! You really came! Come in, come in! Catherine and Ella stepped into the apartment, and Noah felt a moment of self-consciousness as they took in his small home. The worn furniture, the patched carpet, the kitchen that was barely big enough for one person to cook in. But Catherine's expression held only warmth as she looked around. What a cozy home, she said, and she sounded like she meant it. Thank you for having us. Thank you for coming. Noah took their coats, Catherine's expensive wool one and Ella's puffy pink jacket, and hung them on the hooks by the door. Welcome to our Christmas. Ella was carrying a bag that clinked suspiciously, and Catherine had another bag that looked like it contained wrapped presents. Noah tried not to think about how much money was probably represented in those bags. Mia, can I see your room? Ella asked immediately. You said you'd show me. Yes, come on. Mia grabbed Ella's hand and dragged her down the short hallway to her bedroom. Catherine watched them go with a soft smile, then turned to Noah. Your home is lovely. I mean that. It feels warm, lived in, loved. It's small, Noah said, still feeling defensive despite her kind words. Small doesn't mean less. Sometimes small means you're close enough to actually touch the people you love. She held up the clinking bag. I brought sparkling cider. Ella loves it, and I thought maybe we could have a toast before lunch. That sounds nice. They moved to the kitchen, and Noah found his nicest glasses, mismatched things from various thrift stores, while Catherine opened the bottle. The pop of the cork made the girls come running from Mia's room. What was that? Ella asked. Sparkling cider, Catherine said. Want some? Yes, please. Noah poured small amounts for the girls and fuller glasses for himself and Catherine. They stood in his tiny living room, the four of them together, and Catherine raised her glass. I'd like to make a toast, she said, to new friends and second chances, to forgiveness and fresh starts, and to the kindness of strangers who turn out to be exactly what you needed. They clinked glasses, the girls giggling at the bubbles, and Noah felt something warm settle in his chest. Now presents, Ella announced. After lunch, Catherine corrected gently. We don't want to spoil the tradition. They ordered from the Golden Dragon, the Chinese restaurant Noah and Mia had been going to for years. Catherine insisted on paying, and Noah let her because arguing seemed petty. While they waited for the delivery, the girls played with Mia's new art set, drawing pictures of snowmen and reindeer. "I got something for your apartment," Catherine said quietly, pulling a wrapped box from her bag. "I hope it's not too presumptuous." Noah took the box, confused. It was heavy, wrapped in silver paper with a red bow. "You didn't need to get me anything." "It's not really for you. It's for both of you. Open it." He unwrapped it carefully, aware of Mia watching from her spot on the floor. Inside was a space heater, top of the line, still in its box. "I noticed your apartment was cold when we came in," Catherine said. "And Ella mentioned that Mia said your heater doesn't work very well. I thought this might help." Noah stared at the box, emotions warring inside him. It was incredibly thoughtful. It was also a reminder of everything he couldn't provide, every way his home was inadequate. But when he looked up at Catherine, he didn't see pity in her eyes. He saw genuine care. "Thank you," he said quietly. "This is really kind. We all need help sometimes." There's no shame in accepting it. The food arrived and they spread it out on the small table. Fried rice, lo mein, dumplings, General Tso's chicken, beef with broccoli. Ella approached each dish cautiously, trying small bites while Mia encouraged her. "Try the dumplings first," Mia instructed. "They're the best. You dip them in this sauce, see?" Ella took a tentative bite, then her eyes went wide. "This is really good." "Told you." Watching the girls together, watching Catherine relax and laugh at their antics, Noah felt the last of his resistance crumbling. This wasn't charity. This wasn't pity. This was just four people sharing a meal, sharing a holiday, sharing their lives. After lunch, they opened presents. Noah gave Ella her gift first, watching anxiously as she unwrapped it. Her face lit up when she saw the unicorn sketchbook. "I love unicorns," she exclaimed. "This is perfect. Thank you, Mia. Thank you, Mr. Noah." "Just Noah is fine," he said, smiling at her enthusiasm. Catherine's gifts for Mia were wrapped beautifully, and Noah held his breath as Mia opened them. There was a set of chapter books, the first 5 in a series Mia had mentioned wanting, a craft kit for making friendship bracelets, and a stuffed animal, a soft gray elephant that Mia immediately hugged to her chest. "I love him," Mia breathed. "He's perfect. Thank you, Catherine." "You're very welcome, sweetheart." The last gift Catherine pulled from her bag was for Noah, and he started to protest. "You already gave us the heater." "This is different. Just open it." Inside was a framed photo. It took Noah a moment to recognize it. It was from that first night at the festival, but not the horrible confrontation at the security office. This was from before. A candid shot someone must have taken of Noah and Mia in line for the Ferris wheel, Mia laughing at something Noah had said, both of them wrapped in his jacket against the cold. They looked happy. They looked like exactly what they were, a father and daughter who loved each other. "How did you get this?" Noah asked. "I hired someone to go through all the social media posts from that night at the festival. I wanted to find a picture of you two from before everything went wrong, before I ruined it." Catherine's voice was soft. "I wanted you to have a reminder that that night wasn't all bad, that there was joy in it too." Noah couldn't speak past the lump in his throat. He just nodded, staring at the photo. "Plus," Catherine added, "I thought you might like to remember what you looked like before you met me, and I gave you gray hairs." That surprised a laugh out of him. "I don't have gray hairs." "Not yet. Give it time." They spent the afternoon exactly as planned, watching movies in a pile on Noah's couch, the four of them squeezed together with blankets and the remnants of Christmas cookies. They watched Elf and the Polar Express, and halfway through Home Alone before the girls started to get drowsy. Ella fell asleep with her head on Mia's shoulder, and Mia was fighting to keep her eyes open, leaning against Noah's side. Catherine had ended up on Noah's other side, and at some point she'd kicked off her shoes and pulled her feet up under her, looking more relaxed than Noah had ever seen her. "This is nice," she said quietly, not wanting to wake the girls. "This is what Christmas should feel like." "What's it usually like for you?" "Quiet. Just Ella and me, opening presents in a house that's too big, eating catered food that's too fancy. It's fine, but it's..." She trailed off, searching for words. "It's lonely. This is better. This feels like family. Noah looked down at Mia's sleeping face, then at Ella's, then at Catherine. Yeah, he said. I guess it does. Catherine's phone buzzed, and she checked it with an apologetic grimace. I'm sorry. I told my assistant I'd be unavailable today, but there's always something. Everything okay? She was quiet for a moment, reading whatever was on her screen. Then she sighed. It's fine. Just work stuff. There's always a crisis, always something that supposedly can't wait. She put her phone face down on the couch. But it can wait. Today is about this, not work. You don't have to stay if you need to go, Noah said, even though he didn't want her to leave. I want to stay. That's the whole point. I want to be here, present, not rushing off to handle some emergency that won't matter in a week anyway. She looked at him. Ella's taught me that. And you too, actually. You always put Mia first. You're always present for her. I want to be that kind of parent. You're already becoming that kind of parent. Look at today. You're here. I'm here, Catherine repeated, like she was testing out the words. I'm here. They sat in comfortable silence for a while, the movie playing softly, the girls sleeping soundly. Outside, it started to snow again, big flakes drifting past the window. Noah, can I ask you something? Catherine said eventually. Sure. Why did you say yes to this, to today? After everything I put you through, you could have walked away, never spoken to me again. But you gave me chance after chance. Why? Noah thought about it, really thought about it. Because Mia wanted to be friends with Ella, and because I could see you were genuinely sorry, but mostly, he paused, choosing his words carefully. Mostly because when my wife was sick, people were so kind to us. Neighbors brought food, friends drove Mia to school when I couldn't leave Sarah's side. Strangers at the hospital would sit with me when I was scared and alone. I didn't know most of those people. They just helped because they could. He shifted slightly, careful not to wake Mia. Sarah made me promise before she died that I wouldn't become bitter, that I'd keep believing in the goodness of people, keep being kind even when the world wasn't kind back. So that's what I'm trying to do. Be the kind of person who helps, who gives second chances, who remembers that everyone's fighting battles I know nothing about. Catherine's eyes were bright with tears. She sounds like she was an amazing person. She was. She would have liked you, I think, once you got past the rough start. I don't know about that. I do. Sarah always said people deserve to be judged by who they're trying to become, not who they've been. And you're trying. That counts for everything. Catherine wiped at her eyes. Thank you for that. And thank you for today. For letting us be part of your family, even temporarily. Who says it's temporary? The question hung in the air between them. Catherine looked at him, something hopeful and uncertain in her expression. I mean, Noah continued, the girls are already best friends, and we're getting pretty good at this whole shared holiday thing. Maybe we could keep doing it. Not just Christmas, but other stuff too. Birthdays, random weekends, whatever. Like a family, Catherine said softly. Yeah, like a family. Ella stirred in her sleep, mumbling something about cookies, and Mia shifted closer to Noah. The movie played on, the snow kept falling, and Noah felt like maybe, just maybe, something had shifted tonight. Something permanent. I'd like that, Catherine said. I'd like that very much. They stayed like that until the movie ended, until both girls were deeply asleep and it became clear they weren't waking up anytime soon. Catherine carefully extracted herself from the couch and stretched. I should probably get Ella home, she whispered. We've imposed on you long enough. You haven't imposed. This was perfect, Catherine smiled. It really was. She gathered up her things, then gently woke Ella. Come on, baby. Time to go home. Ella blinked awake, confused and still half asleep. But I don't want to leave. Can't we stay, please? We'll come back soon, Catherine promised. Say thank you to Noah and Mia for having us. Thank you for the best Christmas ever, Ella said, throwing her arms around Mia for one more hug, even though Mia was barely awake enough to hug back. Noah walked them to the door, helped them with their coats. In the doorway, Catherine turned back to him. Thank you, she said again. Not just for today, but for everything. For being patient with me while I figured out how to be better. You're already better. Noah assured her. You just needed someone to notice. On impulse, Catherine leaned in and hugged him. It was brief, friendly, nothing more than that. But it felt significant somehow, like a seal on everything they'd built together over the past few weeks. Merry Christmas, Noah. Merry Christmas, Catherine. He watched them walk down the stairs and across the parking lot to Catherine's Mercedes. Watched until they drove away and the taillights disappeared around the corner. Then he went back inside, carefully lifted Mia from the couch, and carried her to her bed. She stirred as he tucked her in. Daddy? Yeah, baby? That was the best Christmas we've ever had. Yeah? Yeah. Because we shared it. We made it bigger. Noah kissed her forehead. We did. Sleep now. We'll talk about it in the morning. He went back to the living room and looked at the remains of the day, the empty Chinese food containers, the rumpled blankets on the couch, the new space heater plugged in and making the apartment actually warm for the first time in weeks. The framed photo Catherine had given him sat on the coffee table, and Noah picked it up, looking at his and Mia's happy faces. His phone buzzed. A text from Catherine. We made it home. Ella fell asleep in the car talking about all the fun she had. Thank you again for sharing your Christmas with us. I meant what I said. This felt like family. Sleep well. See. Noah set the phone down and went to his bedroom, but sleep didn't come easily. He lay there thinking about the day, about how far they'd all come in just a few weeks. From that disastrous night at the festival to this, to shared meals and inside jokes and the comfortable ease of people who genuinely cared about each other. He thought about Sarah, about the promise he'd made to her, to stay kind, to stay open, to keep believing in people. He liked to think she'd be proud of him for giving Catherine a second chance, for seeing past that worst moment to the person underneath. And he thought about the future, about what came next. More playdates, certainly, more shared meals, birthdays and holidays and ordinary weekends. The four of them finding their way towards something that looked like family, even if it didn't fit any traditional definition. It was scary, opening his heart like this. Letting people in meant risking pain, meant making himself vulnerable. But it also meant joy, connection, the knowledge that he and Mia weren't facing the world alone anymore. Noah finally drifted off to sleep with a smile on his face, the warmth of the new heater filling the room, the memory of Mia's happiness filling his heart, and the hope of what tomorrow might bring filling his dreams. Outside, the snow kept falling, covering the world in white, making everything clean and new, full of possibility. The days between Christmas and New Year's fell into an unexpected rhythm. Catherine texted every morning, nothing intrusive, just simple check-ins that made Noah smile despite himself. Good morning, hope you both slept well. Sometimes she'd include a photo Ella had drawn for Mia, or a funny thing Ella had said about her new best friend. Noah found himself looking forward to those messages, found himself replying with more than just polite acknowledgments. He'd send pictures of Mia using her new art set, or screenshots of the silly messages the girls were exchanging on their tablets. It felt natural, this constant thread of connection between their two households. On the 27th, Catherine called instead of texting. Noah was at the construction site on his lunch break, and he almost didn't answer. His hands were dirty, and he was tired from a morning of heavy lifting, but something made him wipe his hands on his jeans and pick up. Hey, he said. Hi, is this a bad time? Catherine's voice sounded strained. I'm on lunch. What's wrong? A pause. Nothing's wrong exactly. I need advice. Parent to parent. Do you have a minute? Noah walked away from where Marcus and the other guys were eating, finding a quiet corner of the site. Yeah, I've got time. What's going on? Ella's having nightmares about getting lost at the festival. She's had them on and off since it happened, but they've gotten worse the last few nights. She wakes up crying, saying she can't find me, that she's alone and scared. Catherine's voice cracked slightly. I don't know what to do. I hold her. I tell her she's safe, but it doesn't seem to help. I thought maybe you'd know. You've been through hard things with Mia. How do you help her when she's scared? Noah leaned against a stack of lumber, thinking about the months after Sarah died when Mia would wake up screaming, terrified that Noah had left her too. How old was Ella when your nanny abandoned her? 3? Why? Because she probably remembers it more than you think. And now she's reliving that trauma through the festival incident. Both times she lost sight of you and was terrified. Catherine was quiet for a moment. I never thought about it like that. I thought she was too young to really remember the nanny thing. Kids remember more than we realize, the feelings especially. Noah watched his coworkers across the site, grateful for this moment of privacy. When Mia has nightmares about losing me, what helps is talking about it when she's awake, during the day, when she's calm. We make plans for what she should do if we ever get separated. We practice meeting spots, we talk about finding safe adults to ask for help. It gives her control over the fear. That's really smart. It's what the grief counselor taught me after Sarah died. You can't just tell kids not to be scared. You have to give them tools to handle the scary thing. Will you tell me more about what the counselor said? Catherine's voice was almost pleading. I've never taken Ella to therapy. I kept thinking I could handle everything myself, but maybe I was wrong. They talked for the rest of Noah's lunch break, and then for 10 minutes after he should have been back to work. Catherine asked questions, and Noah answered honestly, sharing what had worked with Mia and what hadn't, admitting his own failures and frustrations. It felt intimate, this exchange of parental vulnerabilities. Thank you, Catherine said finally. I'm going to call a child therapist today, and I'm going to talk to Ella tonight about making a safety plan. You've helped so much. Anytime. That's what friends do. Friends, Catherine repeated softly. Yeah, we are, aren't we? I think so. After they hung up, Noah stood there for a moment before heading back to work. Marcus gave him a knowing look. That the billionaire lady? Her name is Catherine. Mm-hmm. And you two are just friends? We are just friends, Noah said firmly. She needed parenting advice. Right, just friends. Marcus's tone said he didn't believe it for a second, but he dropped the subject. The truth was, Noah didn't know exactly what they were. Not just friends, maybe, but not anything more either. They were two single parents trying to navigate raising daughters alone who'd found unexpected support in each other. That was all. That was enough. That evening, Catherine texted, I talked to Ella. We made a plan together for what she should do if we ever get separated again. She's making a card to keep in her pocket with my phone number on it. She seemed relieved to have concrete steps. Thank you for the advice. It really helped. Glad to hear it. How's she doing now? Better. She's in her room drawing something. I think it's a picture of the four of us from Christmas. Noah smiled at that. Mia's been doing the same thing. I have about 15 drawings of her and Ella now. Save them. Someday they'll look back and remember this time. I will. New Year's Eve arrived with frigid temperatures and clear skies. Marcus had invited Noah to a party. Nothing fancy, just a bunch of guys from work and their families getting together for food and fireworks. Noah had planned to go, had even arranged for Mia to stay with Marcus's wife and kids for the evening. But that afternoon, Catherine called again. I know this is last minute, she said, but Ella's been asking if we can spend New Year's with you and Mia. I told her you probably have plans, but she made me promise to at least ask. Noah thought about the party, about the obligation he'd already committed to. Then he thought about Mia's face when he told her who was on the phone. What did you have in mind? Nothing elaborate. Maybe dinner at my place. I was thinking I could actually cook this time. Nothing fancy, just spaghetti or something. The girls could play, we could watch the ball drop on TV, very low-key. That sounds nice, actually. Let me check with Mia. But Mia was already tugging on his sleeve, having clearly overheard. Can we go? Please, Daddy. I want to see Ella. Noah laughed. I think that's a yes. What time? 6? That gives the girls time to play before dinner. Noah called Marcus to cancel. And if his friend made some teasing comment about choosing the billionaire over beer and hot wings, well, Noah ignored it. They arrived at Catherine's house at 6 on the dot, Mia bouncing with excitement. Ella met them at the door wearing a sparkly dress and a tiara, declaring that New Year's Eve was fancy and everyone had to dress up. I didn't know it was fancy, Mia said, looking down at her regular clothes. That's okay. I have extra tiaras. Come on. Ella grabbed Mia's hand and pulled her upstairs before Noah could even say hello. Catherine appeared in the doorway, laughing. Sorry about that. Ella's been planning this all day. She has a whole fashion show planned. No apology necessary. Noah stepped inside, comfortable now in this space that had seemed so intimidating just weeks ago. Something smells good. Spaghetti sauce. I'm following a recipe my mother used to make. No guarantees it'll be edible. In the kitchen, Noah watched Catherine cook. Actually cook, not just heat up something prepared. She moved around the space with less confidence than she probably had in a boardroom, checking the recipe on her phone every few minutes, tasting the sauce nervously. Can I help? Noah offered. Could you make the salad? Everything's in the fridge. They worked side by side, falling into an easy rhythm. Catherine told him about the therapist she'd found for Ella, about how the first appointment had gone well. Noah told her about Mia's upcoming school project, about how she wanted to do something about friendship and was planning to feature Ella prominently. I've been thinking, Catherine said as she drained the pasta, about what you said at Christmas, about being a family, the four of us. I want that, Noah. I want it more than I've wanted anything in a long time, but I'm scared I'm going to mess it up. Noah set down the salad tongs. Why would you mess it up? Because I mess everything up eventually. I get too focused on work. I make promises I can't keep. I let people down. I did it with my ex. I've done it with employees. I've done it with Ella more times than I can count. She wasn't looking at him, was focused intently on the pasta. What if I do it with you and Mia too? What if I let you down? Catherine, look at me. She did, reluctantly. You're going to make mistakes. So am I. That's part of being human. But the fact that you're worried about it, that you care enough to be scared, that tells me you won't mess it up. Not in any way that matters. How can you be so sure? Because I see how you are with Ella, how you dropped everything to be present at Christmas, how you called me for parenting advice instead of just throwing money at the problem. You're trying, and that's what counts. Catherine blinked rapidly, and Noah realized she was crying. I don't deserve your faith in me. Everyone deserves someone who believes in them, even you. She wiped at her eyes, laughing shakily. You're too good, you know that? Too kind. Or maybe I just recognize someone else who's doing their best in impossible circumstances. Dinner was chaotic and perfect. The girls had changed into matching princess dresses from Ella's costume collection, complete with tiaras and plastic jewelry. They insisted on eating at the fancy dining room table with cloth napkins, even though it was just spaghetti. This is delicious, Mama, Ella declared. Better than the restaurant kind. Catherine caught Noah's eye across the table, a smile playing at her lips. Thank you, baby. After dinner, they settled in the massive living room to watch the New Year's Eve coverage on TV. The girls built a fort out of couch cushions and blankets, declaring it their midnight castle, where they'd watch the ball drop. Can we stay up until midnight? Mia asked. Please, it's a special occasion. Noah looked at his watch. It was barely 8. I don't know if you can make it that long, baby. I can. I promise I can. We'll see. Catherine had made hot chocolate, the fancy kind, with real melted chocolate and whipped cream, and they all sat in the living room watching the television coverage of celebrations around the world. The girls lasted until about 9:30 before their energy started to flag. I'm not tired, Ella insisted, even as her eyes drooped. Me neither, Mia agreed through a yawn. Why don't we make our own countdown, Catherine suggested. We can celebrate when the West Coast hits midnight, which is only 9 o'clock here. That way you can see the celebration and still get to bed at a reasonable hour. But that's cheating, Ella protested. Is it? Or is it just celebrating with our friends on the other side of the country? The girls debated this seriously before deciding it was acceptable. When the West Coast countdown started at 9, they all gathered in front of the TV, counting down together. 10, 9, 8, 7. Noah found himself standing next to Catherine, close enough that their shoulders touched. 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year. On the screen, crowds in California erupted in celebration. In Catherine's living room, Ella and Mia hugged each other, jumping up and down. Noah turned to wish Catherine a Happy New Year and found her already looking at him. Happy New Year, Noah, she said softly. Happy New Year, Catherine. For a moment they just stood there, and Noah felt something shift in the air between them. Something more than friendship, more than co-parenting, something he wasn't quite ready to name. Then Mia crashed into his legs, hugging him. Happy New Year, Daddy. The moment broke. Noah scooped Mia up, spinning her around while she giggled. Happy New Year, baby girl. Here's to the best year yet. The girls were asleep by 9:30, crashed in Ella's room in a pile of blankets and stuffed animals. Noah and Catherine covered them with a spare blanket and retreated downstairs. I should probably get Mia home, Noah said, even though he didn't particularly want to leave. Or, Catherine said, you could stay. Have some actual adult conversation. Maybe a glass of wine? It's still early. Noah checked his phone. 9:45. Okay, yeah, that sounds nice. They ended up in the living room with glasses of wine that Catherine admitted she knew nothing about. It had been a gift from a business associate, and she just grabbed a bottle at random. They sat on opposite ends of the couch, comfortable in the quiet. Can I ask you something personal? Catherine said after a while. Sure. Do you ever think about dating again? Finding someone? The question caught Noah off guard. Sometimes, but it's complicated with Mia. I can't just bring random people into her life. She's been through enough loss. That makes sense. Catherine swirled her wine. I've never really dated. Ella's father was a mistake, a one-night thing that resulted in a pregnancy. Before that, I was too focused on building my company. After that, I was too focused on being a mother. I wouldn't even know how to date if I tried. I don't think anyone really knows how. You just figure it out as you go. Is that what we're doing? Catherine asked quietly. Figuring it out as we go? Noah looked at her, really looked at her. Somewhere along the way, she'd stopped being the woman who'd accused him of kidnapping. She'd become Catherine, complicated and caring, wounded and trying, someone who made him laugh and made him think and made him want to be better. I don't know what we're doing, he admitted, but whatever it is, I like it. Me too. She took a sip of wine. I like who I am when I'm around you. You make me want to slow down, be present, actually live instead of just working all the time. You make me feel less alone, like I'm not the only one struggling to figure out this parenting thing. They talked until well past midnight, the real midnight, not the West Coast version. They talked about their childhoods, their fears, their hopes for their daughters. Catherine told him about building her company from nothing, about the loneliness of success, about how nothing she'd achieved professionally had ever felt as important as getting Ella to smile. Noah told her about Sarah, really told her this time, about the diagnosis, the treatments, the hope, and the despair, about holding her hand when she died, about the promise he'd made, about the 3 years of barely keeping his head above water. You've been so strong, Catherine said. I've been surviving. That's not the same thing. It is, though. Survival is strength. Getting up every day, taking care of your daughter, staying kind when you had every reason to become bitter, that's the strongest thing a person can do. Noah felt his throat tighten. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for being that, for showing me what real strength looks like. At some point, they'd moved closer together on the couch. Not touching, but close enough that Noah could smell her perfume, could see the flecks of gold in her brown eyes. Noah, I need to tell you something, Catherine said, and I need you to hear me out before you respond. Okay. I'm falling for you. The words came out in a rush. I know it's fast, I know it's complicated, I know we have our daughters to think about. But I can't keep pretending this is just friendship. You're the first person in years who's seen me, really seen me, and hasn't wanted something from me. You're kind and patient, and you make me laugh. And when I'm with you, I feel like I can breathe for the first time in forever. Noah's heart was pounding. Catherine, I know you might not feel the same way. I know you might still see me as the woman who almost ruined your life. But I had to tell you, I couldn't go into a new year carrying this secret. Can I talk now? Noah asked gently. She nodded, looking terrified. I'm falling for you too. I've been for a while, actually. I kept telling myself it was just friendship, just co-parenting, just convenience. But it's more than that. You're brilliant and funny, and you're trying so hard to be better, and I admire the hell out of you for it. Catherine's eyes went wide. Really? Really? But Catherine, we have to be smart about this. We have 2 little girls who are already attached to each other. If we try this and it doesn't work, it'll work, Catherine interrupted. I'll make it work. I'll do whatever it takes. You can't promise that. None of us can. Life happens. Things fall apart. Then we'll put them back together. Together. She reached for his hand. I'm not saying this will be easy. I'm not saying I won't make mistakes. But Noah, I haven't felt this way about anyone. Ever. I'm willing to fight for it if you are. Noah looked down at their joined hands, thinking about risk and reward, about safety and possibility. He'd been playing it safe for 3 years, protecting himself and Mia from any potential hurt. But safety also meant loneliness. Safety meant never taking chances on something that could be extraordinary. Okay, he said, let's try, but slowly. We take it slow, we're honest with each other, and we put the girls first, always. Always, Catherine agreed. Slow, honest, girls first. And no grand gestures, no expensive gifts or fancy trips or anything like that. This has to be about us, not about what you can buy. Catherine laughed. That's going to be hard for me. Grand gestures are kind of my thing. Then you'll have to learn to do small gestures, meaningful ones. I can do that. She squeezed his hand. I can do anything if it means keeping you in my life. They sat there for a long moment, hands linked, the weight of what they'd just committed to settling over them. Then Noah said, So what happens now? Now? Now we finish our wine. And tomorrow we start figuring out what this looks like, together. Together, Noah echoed. It was nearly 2 a.m. when Noah finally carried a sleeping Mia out to his truck. Catherine walked them out, wrapping a blanket around Mia against the cold. Drive safe, she said. Text me when you get home. I will. She kissed Mia's forehead, then looked at Noah. Is it okay if I... He answered by leaning in and kissing her, soft and brief, but full of promise. Happy New Year, Catherine. Happy New Year, Noah. The drive home was quiet, Mia sleeping peacefully in the back seat. Noah kept glancing in the rearview mirror at her peaceful face, feeling the weight of the decision he'd just made. He was letting someone into their lives, into their carefully constructed world of 2. It was terrifying. It was exhilarating. He texted Catherine when they got home, as promised. We made it. Mia didn't even wake up when I carried her inside. I'm glad. Sleep well. Dream of good things. You too. Noah fell asleep that night with a smile on his face, hopeful for the first time in years about what the future might hold. The next few weeks unfolded like a gentle dream. Noah and Catherine were careful, taking things slow like they'd promised. They didn't tell the girls anything had changed, not yet, but they found ways to spend time together. Family dinners became a regular thing, alternating between houses. Sometimes Catherine would bring Ella over to Noah's apartment, and they'd make simple meals in his tiny kitchen, laughing when they bumped into each other. This kitchen is impossible, Catherine complained one evening, trying to chop vegetables on Noah's limited counter space. It's cozy, Noah corrected, stealing a piece of carrot. It's a closet with appliances. Are you complaining? Because I seem to remember you having a kitchen the size of my entire apartment. She bumped him with her hip. I'm not complaining, I'm observing. There's a difference. The girls were in Mia's room, their laughter drifting down the hallway. Noah had learned to love that sound, the pure joy of children who'd found true friendship. They're good together, Catherine said, echoing his thoughts. They are. Almost makes me think this whole crazy situation was meant to happen. You believe in fate? I believe in second chances. Sometimes they look a lot like fate. On Valentine's Day, Noah took Catherine on their first real date. Just the 2 of them, no kids. Marcus had agreed to watch both girls, mostly so he could give Noah grief about it later. Where are you taking her? Marcus had asked. Somewhere fancy? She probably expects fancy. Then she's going to be disappointed. Noah took Catherine to a small Italian restaurant he'd discovered years ago with Sarah. It wasn't expensive or trendy, but the food was incredible and the atmosphere was warm. He'd worried it might be awkward, bringing Catherine somewhere that held memories of his late wife, but somehow it felt right, like he was honoring Sarah's memory by continuing to live, to love, to take chances. Catherine wore a simple dress, had her hair down, looked beautiful in the candlelight. This place is perfect, she said, looking around at the checkered tablecloths and the photos of Italy on the walls. How did you find it? Sarah and I used to come here for anniversaries. We couldn't afford anywhere expensive, but this place made us feel special anyway. Catherine reached across the table for his hand. Thank you for sharing it with me. I know that couldn't have been easy. It's easier than I thought it would be. I think Sarah would like you. I think she'd be happy that Mia and I aren't alone anymore. They talked through dinner, through dessert, through coffee. They talked about their hopes for their daughters, about what kind of future they wanted to build together. Catherine admitted she was thinking about stepping back from work, maybe hiring a CEO to run the day-to-day operations so she could focus more on being present for Ella. That's a big decision, Noah said. I know, but I keep thinking about what I want my legacy to be. And I don't want it to be a company, no matter how successful. I want it to be Ella. I want her to remember me being there, not always working. For what it's worth, I think that's incredibly brave. When they got back to Marcus's house to pick up the girls, they found Mia and Ella had made them a card. It was covered in glitter and stickers, and inside it said, "We think you should be boyfriend and girlfriend. Love, Mia and Ella." Marcus was grinning from the doorway. They'd been working on that all evening. I had nothing to do with it. Noah and Catherine looked at each other, then at the two hopeful faces watching them. What do you think? Noah asked the girls. Should we be boyfriend and girlfriend? Yes! Both girls shouted. But that means we need to have some rules, Catherine said seriously. This is important, so I need you both to listen. The girls settled down, attentive. If your daddy and I are together, that means we're a family now, all four of us. But family means we have to be honest with each other, and kind and patient. It means sometimes we'll disagree, but we'll work it out because we love each other. Can you both do that? Mia and Ella nodded solemnly. And it means, Noah added, that we take care of each other. When someone needs help, we help. When someone is sad, we comfort them. When someone makes a mistake, we forgive them. That's what family does. We can do that, Mia said confidently. We're already good at being friends. Being family will be even better. And she was right. Over the next few months, they figured out how to blend their very different lives into something that worked. Catherine cut back her hours at work, started attending Ella's dance recitals and parent-teacher conferences. Noah accepted help when it was offered, let Catherine pay for things sometimes without fighting her about it. They had their struggles. There was the time Catherine had to fly to New York for an emergency board meeting and missed Ella's birthday party, leaving Noah to comfort a devastated little girl. There was the time Noah's truck broke down and he was too proud to ask Catherine for help, ending up stranded on the side of the road for 3 hours before finally calling her. This is what I'm talking about, Catherine had said, exasperated after picking him up. We're supposed to be partners. That means letting me help when you need it. I know. I'm sorry. I'm still learning how to do this. We both are. They learned. Slowly, imperfectly, but they learned. By spring, the girls were calling each other sisters, and Noah and Catherine were talking about the future in concrete terms. Not marriage, it was too soon for that, but cohabitation. The question was where. My house has the space, Catherine said one evening. They were at Noah's apartment, the girls asleep after a movie marathon. You and Mia could move in. She and Ella could share the playroom, or we could convert one of the guest rooms into a bedroom for Mia. That's generous, but you don't want to live in my house. I get it. It's too big, too impersonal, too much a reminder of everything we come from different worlds. It's not that. It's just, Noah struggled to put it into words. This place is our home, mine and Mia's. It's where we grieved Sarah, where we learned to be okay again. I'm not sure I'm ready to leave it. Catherine was quiet for a moment. What if we found somewhere new? Not my house, not your apartment, but something that's ours. All four of us, starting fresh. You'd give up that mansion? In a heartbeat, if it meant we could all be together. Besides, you were right that first day I invited you over. It's too much space for too few people. I want a home that feels full, not empty. A home that feels like what we built here, just with a little more room. They found a house in May. It was in a middle-class neighborhood, not as fancy as Maple Ridge, but much nicer than where Noah's apartment was. 4 bedrooms, a decent backyard, a kitchen big enough for 2 people to cook in without bumping into each other constantly. It needed work. The deck was rotting, the bathroom tiles were cracked, the landscaping was overgrown, but it was perfect. I can fix all of this, Noah said, walking through with the inspector's report. The deck, the tiles, all of it. It'll take time, but I can do it. We can do it, Catherine corrected. You teach me, I'll help. We'll make it ours together. They closed on the house in June and spent the summer fixing it up. Marcus and some of the guys from the construction site helped with the big projects. Catherine hired professionals for the things that needed permits and expertise. But mostly, it was the four of them, Noah and Catherine and two excited girls, painting walls and planting flowers and turning a house into a home. Mia and Ella's room was painted purple with silver stars, a combination of both their favorite colors. They each got their own bed, but pushed them together anyway, preferring to sleep side by side. We're sisters now, Ella explained when Catherine suggested they might want separate beds. Sisters sleep together. Noah and Catherine's room was simple, soft blues and grays, nothing too elaborate. But it had a reading nook by the window where they'd sit together in the evenings, talking about their days, making plans for the future. The day they officially moved in was chaotic. Boxes everywhere, furniture in wrong rooms, nothing where it was supposed to be. But when evening came and they ordered pizza and sat on the floor of their new living room surrounded by chaos, Noah felt something settle in his chest. We're home, Mia said, looking around with satisfaction. Yeah, baby, we're home. That night, after the girls were asleep in their new room, Noah and Catherine stood on the half-finished deck looking out at their overgrown backyard. We did it, Catherine said, leaning against him. We actually did it. Did you doubt we would? Sometimes. Usually around 3 in the morning when I couldn't sleep and my brain would tell me all the ways this could fall apart. And now? Now I think maybe your Sarah was right. People deserve to be judged by who they're trying to become, not who they've been. And we're all becoming something better together. Noah wrapped his arm around her. I love you. You know that? It was the first time either of them had said it. Catherine turned to look at him, eyes bright. I love you too. You and Mia. Both. My family. Our family, Noah corrected. They stood there for a while, watching fireflies start to appear in the yard, listening to the quiet sounds of their neighborhood settling in for the night. Somewhere in the house, one of the girls laughed in her sleep. A dog barked in the distance. A car drove by, its headlights sweeping across their new home. It wasn't perfect. The house still needed work. Their blended family still had rough edges to smooth out, and there would undoubtedly be challenges ahead. But it was theirs, built on a foundation of second chances and forgiveness, and the simple decision to keep showing up for each other. Noah thought about that night at the festival, about the terrified little girl who'd changed everything, about the accusation that had almost destroyed him, about all the small moments since then that had led to this, to a home, a family, a future he'd never imagined possible. What are you thinking about? Catherine asked. About how sometimes the worst moments lead to the best things, about how I almost walked away from this a dozen times, and how glad I am that I didn't. Me too. She kissed him softly. Thank you for not giving up on me. On us. Thank you for being worth not giving up on. They went inside together, checking on the girls one more time before heading to their own room. Mia and Ella were tangled together in sleep, peaceful and secure in the knowledge that they were loved, that they were safe, that they were home. Noah turned off the light and closed the door part way, exactly how both girls liked it. In the hallway, he took Catherine's hand. Ready for tomorrow? She asked. First full day in the new house? Ready for tomorrow, ready for next year, ready for whatever comes, as long as we're together. Together, Catherine agreed. And as they fell asleep that night in their new home, surrounded by the evidence of their imperfect, beautiful life, the half-unpacked boxes, the crayon marks the girls had already made on one wall, the sound of two children breathing softly down the hall, Noah realized that Sarah had been right all along. The world was still good, people were still kind, and second chances, when you were brave enough to take them, could lead to something more wonderful than you ever dared to dream. Outside, the summer night was warm and full of stars. Inside, a family slept. Not the family any of them had started with, not the family anyone would have predicted, but exactly the family they all needed. And in the morning, they would wake up together and keep building this life, one imperfect, beautiful day at a time. Because that's what family does. They show up, they stay, they love each other through the hard parts, and celebrate the good parts and forgive the mistakes in between. They become, together, something more than they ever could have been alone. And that was everything. It was